Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning after a weekend full of winning. So much winning. Even when they don't win, the Jazz win. I mean, obviously they lost in Sacramento right at the end. But if they started 2-0, a bunch of you'd be nervous because you'd be worried about the draft pick and are they going to give it away to Oklahoma City? And quite frankly, I don't even blame you. That's a good thing to worry about. So, next best thing, go on the road, play a super competitive game, give a bucket up right at the end, and lose a close game. Perfect. And you don't want to go to Sacramento and get beat by 25 and not compete. No, that was it. It was close, it was competitive, it was entertaining, they played as well as possible, and yet they still lost a road game. I mean, you can win a bunch of home games, you're going to win a bunch of home games, but if you start winning road games, you're going to start giving away draft picks. Right? Am I right? I think you know I'm right. Meanwhile, you got the Utah Mammoth, who are not worried about giving away draft picks, and they are winning road games. Holy cow. Are they ever going to lose again? The Mammoth will never lose again. The win streak keeps growing. They got another W in Winnipeg, 3-2. They're awesome in the third period. I think they are plus 13 goals in the third period now, which is what they are for the season, actually. And they just keep winning close games late. This one in Winnipeg, 2-2 going to the third. They get the goal, they get the win. And it was a great goal. Paterka doing the dirty work. Looked like he got popped. I couldn't tell if he got hit in the face or if his head hit the boards. And he went down and the guys reacted. It wasn't great, but he really put himself out there. He won the puck. And then Cooley with a sweet pass. And Dylan Gunther with a blur. I mean, that was unreal. So they get the win. Here's the best of the postgame show as the Utah Mammoth now have the best record in the Western Conference and are tied for the best record in the NHL.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth won their 7th straight game and improved to 8-2 on the season Sunday night in Winnipeg with a 3-2 victory over the Jets. Utah now holds sole possession of first place in the Central Division, and they will wrap up this 4-game road trip looking to go 4-0 against the Edmonton Oilers coming up tomorrow night, 7:30 face-off, 6:30 Hockey Night in Utah right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Utah on the back-to-back after a 6-2 win on Saturday in Minnesota, headed to Manitoba. First back-to-back of the year. Vitek Vanacek backing up Karel Vejmelka this year, got the start in goal. He stopped 28 of 30, and he was spectacular all night long. For Utah, a 2-2 game in the third period was broken up by yet another game-winning goal from Dylan Gunther.
And now Paterka steals one in the offensive zone. And he gets blasted by Chibrikov. Gunther shoots and scores! The clutch kid comes through again and puts Utah ahead 3-2 late in the third.
After falling behind 1-0 early in the second period, Utah pushed back. Got a power play goal from Mikhail Sergachev, and the game was tied at 1.
Face-off win by Schmaltz again on the power play. Wide open. Sergachev scores! Power play goal for Utah, and we're tied at 1. Sergachev unloads from the high slot.
1 minute and 4 seconds after that, the fastest back-to-back goal of the season would be scored by Michael Carconi. Kyler Yamamoto picking up the assist, playing for the first time on the road trip. Inserted in for Liam O'Brien to add some energy on the back-to-back and added some scoring too.
And it's taken away by Yamamoto. Up ahead with Carconi, a 2-on-1. Yamamoto pass across, one-timer, and they score! Michael Carconi buries the feed from Kyler Yamamoto.
And Vitek Vanacek in goal. Karel Vejmelka's back up now 2-1 on the season. He stopped 28 of 30, including all 3 in this sequence.
Hayden Fleury zooms in down the left wing, feeds the middle. Pat save, rebound, stopped by Vanacek. Vitek Vanacek sprawling out to keep us tied at 2. Not 1, not 2, but 3 saves for V, and we're still locked up.
So the Mammoth continuing to stay red hot, continuing to find ways to win. Second consecutive Sunday, they break open a 2-2 game in the third period with Vitek Vanacek in goal and win by a count of 3-2. Nick Schmaltz now tied for the league lead in scoring with Jack Eichel from the Vegas Golden Knights, and Schmaltz and Logan Cooley, who started this road trip with 3 huge games. They are now tied for second in the NHL with 7 goals. Let's hear from head coach Andre Tourigny after this one. Utah picking it up in Winnipeg, 3-2 in regulation.
Really good performance by V. First, we made key save at key moment. As well, our fourth line, I think, gave us a lot of energy. I said before, we're 4-line teams, and I think they provide a lot of energy. They create good offense. They come up with a big goal. So really proud of Stanley's line. And I think we dig deep. Last year, there's a lot of situation where against that kind of a team, we were there after 2, and we played good, but we could not find a way to get the 2 points tonight. We did. We're there after 2, and we found a way in the tough schedule. So proud of the boys.
I asked Gunther just about the progression of what's being said in meetings and in the room being tangible on the ice. You see that progression. Is there examples of that tonight where you see the connection between what's being talked about and putting it into action? Yeah,
there's. I think there's a level of maturity, obviously, but I think it's more in the demeanor on the bench. When adversity hit, the guys stay composed. They're now overflow of emotion or frustration on the bench. They're rarely guys who show that frustration. There is frustration, but the guys stay under control. So I think we're not wasting our energy at the wrong place. And there's a level of belief as well in our team, and we talk about that on day 1 of the training camp. We say we feel our team is different in the sense of, yes, we have the excitement, but instead to have excitement and hope, we have excitement and confidence. So we were not feeling threatened after the second. We felt it was a challenge, and we were excited about the challenge, but we were confident.
Is that the same thing you saw after Dylan scored his goal in terms of that mentality on the benches, the same things?
Yeah, I didn't feel it change anything, to be honest. I felt just, okay, we know what will happen. This and they will have a push. They will be a little bit more aggressive on their forecheck, but we didn't have to talk about it. The guys, they handled that, and they were good.
Every game we know is important, of course, but is there more weight to winning against a team like Winnipeg in the division when we know how strong the division is, even if it's in retrospect?
Yeah, there's 2 ways at that question. Yes, there is, but at the same time, we don't prepare or we don't talk about that game differently. We want consistency. We don't want to level ourselves to our opponent. Oh, tonight we play against that great opponent. We need to be more ready than tomorrow against another opponent. No, we want to be the best version of ourselves every night, knowing full well, yes, you play a good team, a good program like Winnie. They're always tough to play against, so you need to be ready. But we don't change our approach.
First time in the series between Utah and Winnipeg in 5 games that the road team has won a game. So big one there. In fact, the Mammoth, or the Utah hockey clubs that were last year, were close in those games. First one in November was tied late in the second period. Winnipeg won that, and Utah tied the game in the third in their last visit in January, but Winnipeg able to pull away. Another difference between Utah this year and last year, their ability to find ways to win games late, and that's why they're 8-2 this year, and they were 4-4-2 last year after 10 games. We heard from Vitek Vanacek, our goaltender, after the game and after another big one for Utah.
We ready? So a game like tonight, what's going through your head as the game's kind of progressing? You want to obviously be mentally sharp, but what'd you see from your team tonight?
Yeah, I mean, first period was a little bit quiet, 0-0. Second period, they quick score, when we come. And then, of course, we're trying to be quiet in the net, but the guys play amazing, back to back. It's always too hard, the game. But they play amazing.
After Dylan Gunther scores that game winner, those less than 6 minutes, what goes through your head in terms of the game management, how you want to play?
I mean, it was like 4 minutes still left, and then we got a power play. But that team gonna cheat that point, and then they're gonna try go behind us to get a breakaway or something like that. But we handled it really well, and then they didn't get anything. So great win.
What were some of the keys to limiting this team to only 2 goals?
Yeah, I mean, they have a good team. And you just have to play with them, be the buff above the players, and then we score 3 and then they score 2, so that's the key.
And let's hear from Dylan Guenther, captain clutch. 4 game-winning goals for him, tied for the NHL lead with Seth Jarvis of Carolina. The Mammoth, who opened the trip with 13 goals in the first 2 games through St. Louis and Minnesota, going up against a tough Winnipeg team that doesn't allow a lot of goals. Best goaltender in the NHL the last 2 years, and Connor Hellebuck, and found a way to sneak through a 1-goal victory off of the stick of Dylan Guenther.
So obviously we'll recap the goal, but how fun is this right now? This energy, the group, what you guys are being able to accomplish, how fun is it right now?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, winning's fun. We're playing like a lot of games too, so I think just continue to just keep it rolling and just enjoy this one for a bit and get ready for the next one. Is
there an element of routine that comes with that? I mean, you're kind of in that pace, that rhythm. Has that sunken in yet?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much going every other day, so I think so. I mean, just I don't know. I mean, work out after the game, take the day off. I mean, when we win, we get more days off too, so I think that's fun.
Patricia took the hit to make the play. Cooley helped you out, set up that assist. With that effort and those guys sacrificing their bodies to help make plays, how important is that in this stretch right now?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, they're kind of in-your-face team, a little bit heavier than us, and we're on a back-to-back, so I think just adapting, I think just managing the game a little bit better, not giving them anything, and then just capitalizing when we get our opportunities.
So as we said, on to Edmonton, 7:30 tomorrow. And in the meantime, we're talking all about it on Mammoth Daily. Mike Folta and myself, our daily podcast, Monday through Friday. 30 minutes of Mammoth, wherever you get your podcasts, straight from us, your Utah Mammoth broadcast team. Apple, Spotify, you can watch us on YouTube. We'll have Mike's Morning After recapping the game with Dom Moore on today's episode. And also, our Monday Morning Power Play gives you the top 5 stories heading into the week.
All right, there's the Utah Mammoth. We switch gears and go to football, where there's more winning, with the exception of Utah State. All right, that didn't go so well. Stay with us. We'll get to the football next, right here on 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, let's get to it. The Utes win. The Cougars win. The Aggies do not. We'll start with Bronco Mendenhall. Disappointing loss. New Mexico. Man, that was decisive. That was a decisive win for the Lobos, and one that clearly felt good because Bronco was there 1 year and gone. Now, they're going to have to win. The Aggies are going to have to win a big game here to get bowl eligible. They ought to beat Nevada next week. Nevada's in last place. So no excuses. You got to win that game. And then you got 3 games at the end of the season against 3 teams that look pretty good. Boise State and San Diego State might be headed to the conference title game, so maybe Fresno's the game you got to win. San Diego State shut out Fresno State this weekend. All of that we can talk about with Bronco later. Here's Bronco after the game.
Special teams seem to be an issue early on with obviously the punt return and then pinning down inside the 1-yard line. Those are the little things that can really shift field position, because field position is so vital to the success of a team, and it seemed like you were behind the 8 ball to start the game.
Yeah, for sure. The execution, really, all 3 phases didn't match New Mexico's today. They executed very well in all 3 phases, were very well prepared, and that simply won the day. Starting with the punt return for a touchdown, obviously there was a safety. There were some balls we caught in the punt game that were inside the 5-yard line, and then. There was a kickoff return that actually looked like it might crease us as well, and probably got an extra 15 yards. So, and then we got a chance to pooch punt, to play field position early on in the 3rd quarter, and kicked it in the end zone. So really, just New Mexico's game is time of possession and field position, and they were spot on from beginning to end with that.
So as you go back now, Coach, to the bye week, what are some of the things that did you think about it? And maybe it's too early to tell until you can kind of look at the film, but curious the areas where you think, we really need to shore up these 1 or 2 things as we go down to this final stretch of the season.
Oh, there's quite a few. We're an inconsistent football team currently. There's stretches and there's glimpses, but there hasn't yet been the continuity, and really our focus has been the execution and consistency for the last 2 weeks, and yet It didn't manifest today. Lots of miscues again, as you pointed out. The special teams, the penalties, especially in the offensive front, holding and procedures, right, are really challenging. We didn't have we weren't making negative plays defensively, so many of the runs were being contained or moderate gains, but we really had a hard time getting off the field in terms of disruption by the style of play that New Mexico had. And so there's still the identity of this team is still emerging and hasn't yet truly been formed. And that in and of itself, schematically, not only offensively and defensively, but special teams is job number one through the bye week, and then getting our team rested and healthy for the final 4 weeks. I think those two things probably go together.
How do you, and maybe you don't, but is there any way you treat this bye week differently than the one you did a few weeks ago?
Oh yeah, it's certainly differently. The stage of our team right now, lifting and running and recovery is essential. Different than practicing like it was a game week. So this will be more like benefiting during game week of adding one extra day, like a Monday, in addition to your normal practices. But yeah, our team needs lifting, running, conditioning, recovery, while the coaches, right, are doing their analysis and framing the next 4 weeks.
Again tonight, you mentioned the penalties up front. They came at inopportune times, I thought. Maybe not a ton of yardage, only 7 for 46, but they came at inopportune times, as did sacks and negative plays, and that seems to lead to then, you're getting off the field very quickly on offense, and time of possession became a real challenge tonight, 38-16 to 21-44. Just the question I would have is, up front, is there anything schematically or execution-wise to help that offensive line that seems to be really struggling the last several weeks and allowing a lot of seepage?
Yeah, there's it's been an emphasis, and I wish it was showing more clearly with better emphasis than it currently is, not only schematically but technically. And so it's certainly been a target. New Mexico is aggressive up front, lots of twists, active rushers. And much like in the Hawaii game, that exposes it even at a higher level, which, again, the timely nature of it. But it isn't just some of the penalties, but the pressure and the lack of rhythm and staying ahead of the chains for us is clearly, being affected.
When you analyze giving up yards on the ground, is it being are teams scheming that, or is it a physicality element to what teams are doing to be able to churn out yards on the ground against this defense?
It's both. Certainly there's schematic things that have to be executed at a higher level. There's things that have to be designed at a higher level, and then there's just the execution things that our players need to do at a higher level. So it's a combination of all of it. Yards per carry, really more than total yards, is really where I look. And so that's an indicator that I value more than the total.
All right, there's Bronco Mendenhall after the loss. Now let's go to the Utes after the win. Byrd, Ficklin, Wayshawn Parker, and Jonathan Hall after a complete demolition of Colorado.
Byrd, what led to the amount of success that you guys had in the running game against Colorado from basically the opening drive? You ended up, as a team, having a season-high 422 yards rushing. It was the most rushing in a game for Utah since 2021.
It was mainly just, trusting the guys up front, trusting them to bank their blocks, and going out there having fun. Like I told them before the game, we go out here, have fun, and play our game. We're going to do something great, and that's what we did, and we had something to prove.
Byrd, can you take me through your emotions when you found out you were going to start, and then at what point in the game did you feel like you really settled in terms of passing?
I didn't have too much emotions, being prepped, being ready for Dev, him leading me throughout the whole year, and me getting the reps that I had from the beginning of the season. I was ready. Like, I didn't have too much emotion. I knew I had to play like I've been in that position before.
Jono, you led the team in sacks, tackles. The defense as a whole just really got after Colorado, especially that first half. What was kind of the game plan and kind of what allowed you guys to be so successful?
The main thing this week was playing with passion and playing with emotion. Our D-line, man, we got some guys up in the D-line, man. They give us our all, man. So we let them dudes, all 11. We played good today.
Shehan, on that first big run when you had that cutback, what went through your mind as you made that cutback, made the man miss, and got off to the races?
I mean, the thing that was going through my mind is just like, I need to get to the end zone. Like, one, I've been failing Utah. I haven't touched 100 yards, so I had to touch 100 yards this game.
Yep.
And I promise that's not going to be the last game. But, what was going through my mind is that, okay, like, one-on-one, like, I take myself 100%, 10 out of 10 chance. Like, so I just made that cutback, and I trust myself of outrunning the cornerback or whoever that was chasing me.
Byrd, when did you know for sure you were going to start, and what did you think of the way you threw the ball tonight?
It was mainly just a game time decision. We both been taking reps all week throughout practice, and it was just a game time decision. I think I threw the ball pretty well. Some things I wish I had back from the game, but I told everybody, leave it all on the field, and I feel like I left it all on the field. So don't really hope on the past, just to move on to the future.
Byrd, what did Devin say to you during the game or before the game to kind of help you maybe calm down the nerves a little bit and just play your game?
He told me he trusted me, and he knows everybody on the team is going to be able to trust me. When he told me he had trusted me to lead the team and to play ball, I feel like I was comfortable, and I feel like I know I had everybody on my back.
For Shehan and Johnny, this is just about about Byrd. Just walk me through what his level of preparation looked like this week, and what level of confidence did you guys have in him when you found out that he was going to be the starter this week?
I mean, I start off practicing with him since day one. I felt like I had to trust in him, like knowing that he was going to go out there and ball out. I told him, like, just go out there, do your thing, like let the game come to you. Don't rush it. Like, that's all I got to say. And the preparation that he had, fantastic.
Yeah, from his first day on campus, he's been a dog, and we all knew he's been a dog, and his opportunity came today, and he shined.
John, I'm curious your thoughts on Trey Reynolds' performance. Obviously, he took some increased reps with Lander sitting out in the first half, so what were your thoughts on his performance tonight?
Yeah, Trey, he's a dog. He practiced hard, and we love him. All the linebackers, we got very, very, very good depth.
Byrd, you look so calm and composed under center. What led to your confidence in this one?
Like I said, Dev and everybody on the team telling me they trusted me. Basically for them to have my back. No matter what happened, good or bad, I knew they were going to be behind me, and it wasn't going to be anything for us to go down. It was all positive, and then no matter if we stalled or if we scored, everything was going to be positive, and we were going to see the positive no matter what.
Byrd, during the spring, you said that one of your biggest things of development was that you wanted the game to slow down. Was there a point this season or just during fall camp where you felt like the game was starting to slow down and you were coming into your own?
I would say mainly towards the end of spring ball, more fall camp, playing against our defense, our ones and twos. Scally sending all the blitzes, all the zone coverages. Basically, me seeing everything that I'm going to see that I see tonight and moving forward slowed the game down for me and showed me that it's not as fast as I was thinking it was at first.
All right, there are the Ute players. Now here's head coach Kyle Whittingham.
Okay, a great team effort tonight from start to finish. Hard to find negatives in that game. It was offense, defense, special teams, all hitting on all cylinders. Very few negative things at all, obviously. Jumped on them early. The first half was about as good as football as we've played here. Very proud of Byrd Ficklin. Came in, true freshman, seemed very poised. He wasn't perfect, but he was very good. Ran the offense very well. Defenders played well. I mean, just our players played so efficiently and so dominantly tonight. It was great response to our disappointment last week, and that's twice this year now. They've responded very well, and couldn't be more proud of them. The assistant coaches did a great job with their game plans, and everything tonight was just one of those nights where everything went our way, and had a ton of production, from all three phases. And like I said, couldn't be more pleased with how our guys reacted, how our coaches reacted after what we went through last week. So, questions?
Kyle, did you subscribe to a new analytics site this week?
No, I did not. I never have. And people, I guess some people were saying, that I'm tied to analytics. I do exactly what it says. That's not, that's not a fact. I mean, but they're a great reference. And anyone in here that thinks they know more than the analytics, you don't. I promise you, I don't. And so, but still, sometimes the ebb and flow of the game. And for example, that long field goal, wasn't probably a great decision, but we want to give Dylan as many opportunities as we can and try to build his confidence. So, even though that's not really a confidence builder, 59-yarder, but no, same analytics. There we go.
Kyle, when did you know you were going to go to Byrd, and can you just evaluate his performance on the ground and throwing the ball?
Yeah, it was really a game time decision. I mean, Devin hadn't had much practice all week, but he's a guy that knows this offense inside and out. And had he felt up to the task in pregame, then it would have been a tough decision to make. But he was not feeling it, and so and Byrd fortunately had taken the vast majority of the reps all week long, and that was the way it was trending. Is Byrd was going to be the guy, but it wasn't for certain until after pregame warmups.
Kyle,
and what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry. Thought he did really well. He didn't throw as accurately as he will in the future. I can promise you that. He's a very accurate thrower in practice and has a good strong arm. But he ran the ball efficiently and made enough good throws. He saw him put some right on the money and really move the offense.
Kyle, Scally dialed up a ton of blitzes in that first half. Was there something on tape that you guys saw, or what was kind of the game plan for that defensive effort?
Just to load the box, fill all the gaps, make him beat us throwing the ball. And it was a great game plan, and that was Coach Scally that concocted that punt block. It was out of our safe look. Typically, when you're in a safe look, you're just guarding against the fake, and you're not giving much pressure on the punter. And we kind of lulled him to sleep and came out with a safe look, and he had a blitz or a block designed off of that, and it worked exactly like it did in practice.
At what point do you feel like Byrd really settled in there, especially in passing?
Yeah, probably after the first quarter. He's a little jittery, not jittery, but not quite in sync during the first quarter. But obviously that second run was huge. It was the second play of the game. I think it was the second play of the game. Daniel Bray had a run, and then Byrd went 60, 70 yards. And so, but it seemed like he started to settle in and get into a rhythm second quarter.
Kyle, this is a two-part question for you. Okay. First part, just what level of confidence did you have to have in Byrd? What did you see through him, I guess, just in the past few weeks for you to give him this opportunity and have confidence in him to come out and play efficiently?
Well, I started seeing it in spring ball. He was a mid-year guy, and so he was with us in spring, and you could tell from day one that his demeanor was different than a typical freshman, the way he carried himself, the way he handled his business. And so it was very evident back in spring ball that, hey, we may have something special here. And just continued through fall camp. Although a few times, there's a period of time when in fall camp he didn't really make a lot of progress, but then he, started trending upward again. And he's been really good in the limited reps that he has had in game up to today. And in fact, he was 9 out of 9 throwing the ball and had done a nice job in mostly mop-up duty. But you can tell a lot about a quarterback just the way he carries himself and his demeanor. How he's going to react, and he reacted just right.
Kyle, you've talked about in the past how long sustained drives can be kind of a backbreaker for a defense. Mm-hmm. You guys were kind of on the opposite end tonight in terms of scoring drives. You had like 5 different drives that were under a minute. If the long drives can be kind of that backbreaker, what does it do to have so many quick strike drives like?
Yeah, well, it just makes it easier for the fact that you don't have to be, really good on 18 plays. If you get some big chunk yardage, then that makes that drive so much easier to get it in the end zone. It's really hard to do it 5 yards at a time, and if you can get a 20, 30 yarder or a couple of them in a drive, then that really makes the path to the end zone that much there's less to go wrong if you can get those big plays. Ideal is, 1 play, 70-yard drive for a touchdown. That's ideal, but that's not going to happen very often.
There's Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham. A reminder, don't miss your chance to win big every week on the KSL Sports Zone. This week, win tickets to see comedian Brian Reagan live at the Delta Center on Valentine's Day 2026. Get tickets at SeatGeek or listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. We'll hear from the Cougars next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. Reminder, nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First, Federal Credit Union, and Beehive Meals. All right, we've heard from the Mammoth and from the Aggies and from the Utes. Time to get to the Cougars after they get the win at Iowa State. They did not cover themselves in glory in the start of that game, but they dominated the second half. And they won the turnover battle decisively, so they win the game. After the game, here's the quarterback, Bear Bachmeier.
How tough, in a sense, do you feel you are physically?
Yeah, you always like to think you're a quote-unquote tough guy. Actually, I'm kind of mad at myself because I wussed out on one of those runs where we were trying to, milk the clock and I slid down. So that was kind of a wussy move. But I always pride myself on being very competitive and being very tough, and that's just the way I was raised.
So how did you and your teammates keep faith when LJ went out? They were moving like a ball downfield on the defense. How did you guys kind of keep faith?
Yeah, I think unfortunately we've been in those situations a multitude of times, and just the brotherhood and the culture that we have, and just trusting the guy next to you. I think we've been finding ways to get out of those, but man, we gotta just get out from the jump. But I'm so proud of the guys and just how we responded, and when we do get in those situations, just the trust that we have for one another. That's how we get out of those.
Mayor, what was A-Rod communicating to you after LG went down as far as the changes to how the offense was going to operate in the game?
Yeah, we lost a key component of our offense. I mean, number 4 is just a straight up dog. So we adapted and kind of threw it around the yard a little more and let Preston get some carries. So I thought we adapted really well and thought we were successful with that.
How much did you enjoy the challenge of relying on your arm to get it done going 40 yards today?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's a testament to the whole team and the boys up front and then the guys on the perimeter making plays. So credit to them.
Aaron Parker made that catch where he was heavily defended. Did you say anything to him after that catch for a touchdown?
I said, "You're a dog. Thanks, bro." I can't. That the corner was in a great position to make a play on the ball, and man, Parker just got up and very competitive and came down with it. Yeah, great play by Parker.
How do you prevent a moment like this on the road, sold out stadium, down 14 points, freshman get to you? How do you prevent that from being kind of too big for you?
Yeah, I like to just stay within myself and I don't know. I like to sing songs to myself and just chill. I mean, it's a game and it's nerve-wracking, but I know the guys have my back and I know my family's in the stands and you just got to play the game and you don't want to get too frightened and you kind of just want to stay composed, and so down 14, but you trust your guys next to you just to get the job done.
Do you sing songs while you're out there on offense, or is that like back on the sideline?
Yeah, well, a little bit of both. I mean, I like listening to the songs that are playing, and I saw Luke Combs. He's coming here to play, so I'm singing like Hurricane and Fast Car that was on. So yeah.
To have the trust of those veteran guys as young as you are, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. Just knowing that they've played a lot of ball, knowing their experience, and they don't get frightened at all, and so that calms me, and just knowing that they're gonna do their job, and all I gotta do is put in their vicinity and just do my 1/11th as well. I think that's a great recipe for success.
can't help notice the wrap on your right leg. Is that an ongoing thing, or did that happen?
Oh no, it just happened real quick. I just a little bruise. They don't want it to swell up or something like that on the plane. So.
What just happened in the fourth quarter?
Oh, I don't know. I was just, they saw it. I didn't even feel it. The trainer just said we should wrap that up. I said okay.
So being on an undefeated team in the Big 12, and then approaching the bye week, how much momentum does the team have?
Yeah, we have a lot of momentum, and we got a bye, so we just got to keep it going. Last year we were 9-0, and then we didn't trust the process, and we faltered for whatever reason. So we just have to stick to what we're doing, and that's BYU football, and that's week by week and day by day, just doing what we've consistently and constantly been doing. So.
Coach said that maybe watching your older brother Hank, as a quarterback has helped you through this process of your first year as a starter. Is there some accuracy there?
Yeah, grew up watching him do his thing, and you always kind of want to be better than him, and so but just watching him and seeing his composure and just what his success and everything that he's done, it's definitely it's definitely been instilled in me, and I just want to keep it going.
Chase noted that you guys kind of realized that Ohio State was doing and posed opportunities for you guys to throw it around a bit. What was Iowa State doing that created so many opportunities to have success through the year?
Yeah, they're bringing some pressures and more than we anticipated. So I got some voids in the defense, and then just trusting Chase and Parker and Tiger, Cody on the perimeter just to win their one, and so got it going downfield.
Got a little more work in with Tiger today. 2 catches for Tiger. How much is that enjoyed that throwing your brother?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it's so fun just playing with him, and it's awesome just having him out there. And I know it kind of stinks. I don't like when I miss throws, but it especially stinks when I throw it low to Tiger. But that's football.
You and Tiger both come out of Stanford. Was it a unanimous decision that you were both going to go to the same school, or was there ever any doubt that maybe you guys went separate ways?
Yeah, we had to do it was best for both of us, and luckily coming to BYU was the best for both of us, and we're having really fun, and we're living together and having fun together, and he's a great older brother, and I love him so much.
Lonnie said you guys are going to attack the bye week differently this time around, second bye. What's the expectation? What are you guys going to do with the bye week?
I'm not entirely sure what our plan. I'm sure we'll keep the process the same and just continue to do what we're doing. We can't get complacent.
There's quarterback Bear Bachmeyer. Now here's receivers Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston.
Parker, your second touchdown catch in the back of the end zone. How long is the
it was a little slant and go, and I knew if I could beat the nickel that it was going to be open. And as soon as I beat him, I saw the guy peeling off Chase, so I knew if Bear threw it up, I had to go make a play, and had to make up for one that I missed earlier, so it was good to make that one.
Chase, all the BYU football games you've been involved in your career, how does that come back among those?
Oh, that was such a fun game. Yeah, that was a blast. I think it's definitely up there with just seeing the fight of the team and how we battle adversity. We never feel like we're out of it. Even if we're down a couple touchdowns, we got the faith. We got the boys in the locker room, at halftime to rally them up and to get us going. And we knew we were going to pull out with the win. So never lose faith in these guys and in our coaches.
Chase, what settled you guys in after the slow start and got this offense going?
Yeah, I think just realizing that we can throw the ball on these guys. And once we hit that 2-minute drill and drove down the field, then we kept to that, and obviously it worked in the second half. And we knew we had to make plays, and that Bear had to chuck the ball, and we pride ourselves in those contested catches and making plays and getting points on the board. So we were able to do that second half and get the offense rolling, and the defense did their job and got some huge plays.
For both you guys, was there panic for the offense when LJ goes down and he's out of the game?
I wouldn't say panic. It just gives us more. We have to step up, right? The ball's going to be coming to us, and I think that's what I mean, as a receiver, you love when the ball gets to come to you more. And I think as soon as we saw that, we said, all right, it's our time. Like, we gotta step up big and help this team win. So I think that's what we did.
Did you guys learn anything about Bear tonight that you didn't know through the first 7 games?
No, I just he keeps doing he gets better every week. So
He's definitely. We knew he was tough, but I didn't know he was this tough.
Yeah.
You know, after some of the hits he took and seeing him like just grunt some stuff out.
Yeah.
I know like this solidified how tough he really is, and how much of a leader and how great of a leader he is.
Chase, you guys talk a lot about culture. In what ways did that culture kind of carry you guys when all looked lost in the first half?
Yeah, with the Big 12, we know there's going to be some tough games. We're going to get down. We're going to hit adversity, and that's when you fall back to culture, right? You fall back to what you've established as a team. Like when adversity hits, that's what comes out, and we're able to have a great culture with a great team, with great coaches. So we're never out of it, like I've been saying, and we battle back and we win games. That's what we do. That's what we've done the past 2 years. We just win football games, and that's what we're going to do going forward. We're just resilient. We're never out of it, and teams know that. So you can't blink an eye when you're playing BYU, because we're going to come and we're going to be right there on your butt. So.
Chase, were you guys aware that you came into this game as an underdog despite being undefeated? How much do you guys relish those spots and being viewed as an underdog?
I mean, yeah, it just is what it is. I feel like, I don't know, it's been like that the past 2 years, and we just go win games. That's what we do at BYU, and they can keep making us underdogs, but we're going to come out with the win. So we're confident in that. We got to do our part, do our 111th as players. The coaches are confident, and so they can do whatever they want, but we're going to come out with the win.
Parker, what makes this offense so good when, just after the fumble on the punt, you guys get momentum and you capitalize instantly? This offense seems to have a tendency to do that the last couple of years. What makes you guys so good at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think if the defense or special teams, whoever makes a play for us and gets us back on the field, we got to capitalize on that. And I think it just gives us that extra life that we need after a 3-and-out, which what happened when we came out. And it was, I mean, you never want to go 3-and-out, but to be able to score off of that drive, I think that's really what shifted the whole momentum of the game, and we just kept feeding off of that.
Talk about that momentum shift after that play was made.
Yeah, I mean, we kept rolling. I think we had 31 unanswered points, or 24 unanswered points. So I think we did a good job of keeping the offense on the field, and the defense made plays to get us back on the field to score the ball.
With LJ out, what did you guys think of how Preston and Enoch stepped in and carried the load in the backfield?
Yeah, I think they did a good job. We got great running backs. I mean, like I've always said, we have guys that don't see the field, and when they do see the field, when someone goes down, it's like there's not a blink of an eye. And I think that's just a testament to our team and how good we are and how deep we are as a team. And whoever's out there, I'm confident in them.
There's Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston. Now here's the head coach, Kalani Sitake.
Great game. Glad our guys were able to come through and get the win there, and had a lot of things going against us, especially at the beginning, and that was because Iowa State is a really good team. And I know told the guys they were ranked for a reason, and then they had a bunch of injuries that kind of slowed them down, and I thought they had a great game plan and made things really difficult for us, and especially in the first half and the first quarter especially. And so hats off to Coach Campbell and to Iowa State. I thought they did a great job with the game plan, and we had to make some adjustments and things like that, but I'm glad that our guys were able to hold their composure and know that it's a long game, and that just keep playing and keep plugging away. And so I thought it was a great environment. I enjoyed being here. I know it was loud and it's a difficult place to play, and I think it's a beautiful venue. The fans are awesome on both sides. I thought Iowa State was awesome, supporting their team, and I think this is a really good Iowa State team. I think a lot of the issues have been the injuries. Once they start getting, you saw once they got Carson back, you saw what he can do with the ball in his hands, and Rock was always dangerous. I thought if we just kept making it difficult for them, I said that over and over again, that we gave up a bunch of big plays. And so if we can limit the offense to the big play production, not get as many big plays, I think we'd be better as a team. But overall, it took all three phases. I thought the poise that our leaders had and the poise our coaches had was awesome, and it took all three phases for us to fight back into this, and really happy about the end result. Really happy about the second half, to be honest with you. Looking at the way we turned that around, and just felt good. Felt like we were in control with a lot of the clocks and just the overall momentum and the tempo. So once that was done, I felt like, we can be in a really good spot, making other teams have to play catch up. I kind of like that, and so we were able to get our big playmakers in there and get another turnover. So really happy with the production from our team. All three phases have been done a great job with coaches and the leaders, and now we have a bye coming up. We'll take advantage of it, get an early start on Texas Tech. Use our second bye differently than we did the first bye because the science tells us to. And so we'll do everything we can to get our team ready mentally, physically, and spiritually, get ready for the next one in a couple weeks. So what questions do you guys have for me? I'm not going to tell you any specific adjustments. No, I think just keep the energy going, and really it's the big plays. A lot of it, they were making some great plays. Sometimes that happens, and when you're going against a really, really good team, and I have to remind everyone, these guys played for the conference championship, so it's not like you're just going to go in there and just mop people up. And they've actually had a bunch of injuries, and even watching like Big Citrus, he's still not 100%, but he will be next week, and those guys, and I just talked about like with what Hansen was able to do. This is a really good team. So, we were fortunate to quiet the storm that happened and then try to find a way to get some stacked plays on plays. And I felt like once we started doing that, getting momentum, the guys started seeing it and it started to create some momentum on our sideline, the energy, and the rest worked out in our favor. So, really well-coached team, great battle. I feel for them because I know they're going through a lot of injuries, but they're going to be even more dangerous as they continue, in conference play, and I think they're going to get some victories. So we'll be cheering them on. A little bit, but I think what we saw from what we can do on the offensive side was just get some first downs, get some chunk yardage. And they're a difficult team. This is a coaching staff that's been together for a while, so this is a system that's been in place. We knew that if we just keep plugging away and not getting down ourselves, we don't have to make it all up in one play. And we knew that we'd have to kind of possibly take some fourth downs and convert them, and we were able to choose the right ones, and even choosing to decide when to kick field goals. I thought was a really good moment for us. And Will was ready whenever it happened. Although he can work on his kickoffs a little bit better because we kicked a couple of them out of bounds. So Will's human. We'll make sure to fix that before we get up to Lubbock. But really happy with overall adjustments from everybody on all three phases, the coaches and players. It was awesome.
How much of the Logan Latui interception in the second quarter kind of settled your guys in and started getting plays from there?
Oh yeah, Logan's a big time player for us, and all the guys that on our team, we feel really confident with them making plays for us. And I just like that even when he wasn't in, Logan was supporting the rest of the guys that were in there, the young guys that were getting some pressure on the quarterback. This is a team effort, and I love that all the guys are unselfish, and they know that it's going to take more than just 11 guys on defense. It's going to take some depth and guys coming in, filling in for them. And I think whenever the opportunity happens, these guys make plays just like Fale did on his pick six. So we're in a really good spot. We just got to keep working, can keep, finding ways. We just got to get better and stay humble and stay hungry and make sure that we improve from this week to the next time we play.
Coach, the turnover you got on coverage and the quick change,
yeah,
the ability to capitalize on that moment right there at the start of the fourth quarter, how big is that?
That's huge because K-Pop's been talking about that in meetings for a while now. Like if we're in that situation to take your guy and put him around the ball, and just never know. So it's not one of those things that was happened by accident. K-Pop coaches that. I've been in the meetings when he taught him that, and I think it was Kevin Doe that pushed his guy into it. And the ball bounces funny, and it's shaped that way for a reason. So it's unpredictable. And so if we can put our guys in a position where we can make something happen like that, you create your own luck. And so that's what we keep preaching to these guys. You can't just assume everything. You got to preach, and everything's got to be intentional when we're teaching.
There's BYU football coach Kalani Sitake. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. #NFL.
Calling it a work from the shotgun here. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and now Shavers in motion right to left. Here's the snap, back to pass. Quick hitter to Shakir. Spins away from the defender. He's up the sideline. 35-30, down to the 20. Cuts it back 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Khalil Shakir.
They give it to Taylor, left side. He's at the 20, 25, 30, 50-yard line, still going. Taylor up in the sideline. He's got a chance. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor takes it 80 yards to the house.
Barkley, the single setback. Hurts to Barkley, off left tackle. He's across the 45-50, 45-40. He's going to go. Saquon Barkley finally explodes. 65 yards.
Breece Hall, he's going to throw the ball. Pumps once, throws back in the end zone. It's caught. Mason Taylor. The option pass right by Breece Hall for a touchdown. And the Jets are a point after away from the lead.
Harvey in the flat, wide open. Harvey gathers it in, tiptoes into the end zone. Touchdown, Denver. Bo Nix's 4th touchdown pass of the game. And for R.J. Harvey, that is his 3rd touchdown.
It's a snap to Love. Rushan throws the middle. Got his man. Cutting left to the 5 to the end zone. It is Tucker Kraft having a night. Wow. Touchdown, Green Bay. They beat Chuck Clark on a crosser. 24-yard touchdown reception.
That is the NFL. The highlights yesterday. Oh, where to start? How about the Jets? Yeah, they will not go winless. They get off the schneid. Good for the Jets and finally win a game. They had to beat the Bengals by 1 point. They had gone for 2 early on. The prior score that led to them being able to get the touchdown and extra point to get that extra point that they needed, the 1 more point, and they win. The Packers, Jordan Love, Utah State's Jordan Love looked awesome, did he not? 360 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 20 consecutive completions. And he beats the old codger, Aaron Rodgers, if it was a one-on-one battle, more about a team battle. I thought Pittsburgh had a shot there, but man, blinked, and there it was, the Pack. Running away with it. They put it on them pretty good as far as I'm concerned. The Colts, 7-1. Oh, man. The surprise story of the year? I think so. I think you can say that. Tyler Huntley, back in Baltimore. I don't understand why they keep releasing him, because doesn't it seem like he keeps finding his way back to Baltimore? And still in the NFL all these years, and the Ravens beat the Bears. The Bears had been looking good, but Tyler Huntley getting the job done. 30-16. And you heard the Eagles and the Giants. I guess the big story there, Cam Scatteraboo, who'd been able to look really good in his limited action here. Now he's done because he dislocated his ankle. They had to cart him off. You always get sad when you see that, don't you? See somebody getting carted off. Fortunately, it was lower body and not upper body, that's for sure. So it looks like his season is over, and they'll have to go on without him. I don't think they were going to make the playoff anyway, but maybe they showed some promise for the Giants as a developing team now. Unfortunate, that's just part of the game, and that's part of the game that stinks. That is for sure. Let's see. Any other games that got you going on there? Buccaneers continue to roll, pound the Saints. How about the Broncos, man? You just heard that Bo Nix highlight. Putting up 44 on the Cowboys. That's a lot of points in the NFL. Beating them by 20. You got to give it up to them, right? They were pretty good last year. Look like they might even be better this year. We'll see what they can do. The dramatic win last week, and now they have no problem beating the Cowboys. We got Monday Night Football tonight, of course, and it is the Washington Commanders at the Kansas City Chiefs. That game will start at 6:15, right up against the World Series Game 3 in Los Angeles, and we'll get to that here in a bit. All right, let's move on to college football.
Hashtag college football.
Well, the big story in college football, what is that? I think it has nothing to do with, well, I take that back. I was going to say it has nothing to do with it out on the field. Actually, it has everything to do with out on the field, with what's gone on in the field. That'd be Brian Kelly getting canned at LSU. My gosh, what are they doing there? They were working on a separation agreement. What is this, a marriage here? Is supposed to be owed $54 million, and that's being negotiated to a lower amount. And the AD who hired him was at Texas A&M when they did Jimbo Fisher. What did he get, $90 million? This is outrageous. Somebody's put a list on of all the amounts of money that college teams are owing the coaches. They've been fired. There's been several of them been fired this year. That's just absolute irresponsibility. And I don't care who's paying it. It's still irresponsibility. Let's make everybody work a one-year deal then. And this is getting ridiculous. Or no long-term contracts, no beyond 2 years. Something's got to be done. College football and the money that is being spent is just absolutely out of control when you think about it. All right, notable results out on the field. Well, UCLA, you had your good run, but Indiana says, beat you 56-6. And the game that essentially got Kelly fired in his last game was Texas A&M putting it on LSU. Really hammered them. What was it, like 49-25? That's not going to work. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin goes into Norman and beats Oklahoma on a dreary, rainy day. Now, what does that mean? Lane Kiffin seems like he's got about 14 job opportunities if he should choose them. He was a young stud, then he fell out of grace a couple of times with the Raiders, USC, blah, blah, blah. Now he's back in control. Looking like if he wants to leave, he can leave. We'll see what happens there in the coming weeks with all these premier jobs that you can argue are open. Vandy continues to roll, beating Missouri, I should say. Cincinnati, no problem with Baylor. I was a little surprised by that. And that sets it up for next week. Cincinnati coming into Rice-Eccles and college game day coming. Woohoo! Illinois went down to Houston, the upstart. They beat ASU. It's 24-16. Now, man, they're 7-1. Are they this year's ASU? ASU's back to where they normally are to get in November, and bowl eligibility is in question. I saw a stat that just really amazed me for some reason. Jay didn't play without Jordan Tyson. It's clear the Devils can't win without a healthy Levitt, who is not healthy. I'm not sure he's going to play this week. They go to Iowa State. And Jordan Tyson, they need them both. Jordan Tyson had 57 catches through 7 games. The next best receiver in terms of total catches for the Devils was tied, or they had a couple guys each with 7. So that means he had 50 more catches through 7 games. That is just amazing. Man, that kid is good, but he couldn't play, and Levitt had to go out, and Devils get beat. So they're now, just as DJ would say, playing for the Sun Bowl, I guess. We'll see what they can do, if they can find a way to get bowl eligible. Memphis loses, goes... Oh, No, Memphis stayed, right? No, why did I say they lost? USF was the one that got beat in there. So USF, which had the nice start. And this is a little bit of a blow here. Texas Tech quarterback Will Hammond, who came into Rice-Eccles and looked good, he tore his ACL, so he's going to be out. They beat Oklahoma State. Now, Morton has been hurt for a couple of games, and the reason why that could be pertinent is in 2 weeks, the Cougars go to Lubbock to play Texas Tech. So they're down their backup quarterback. Now they will need Morton to be healthy if they want to win. All right, speaking of the Cougars, let's roll over to them.
Hashtag Utah State.
This is obviously like a cathartic win for UNM fans and all that. I mean, how important was it to just get them that win, get them that sense of catharsis?
We kind of got dumped, you could say. And again, you want to make sure that the next time you see that person who dumped you, you don't look like all disheveled and look like a mess and stuff. And so they're thinking, yeah, geez, that was the best thing I ever did, was getting out of there. So I think we did a good job of showing that wasn't the case today. We're looking pretty good and we're doing pretty good. We're not missing you. So.
Utah State, man, you said Cougar. I said Cougars, but we obviously went to Utah State. They just get hammered. That was not a good game. They got smoked 33-13. Miles Davis did run for 110 yards. Bryson Barnes, 1 TD and 1 pick. Now the USU Aggies will be on a bye before hosting Nevada. Good thing is Nevada stinks, so they should be able to get back on track there as they seek for bowl eligibility. But a pretty good win, and you heard from Jason Eck, the coach there, who replaced Bronco We're not missing you. Ouch!
He got to the end of that. I don't know if he knew how to wrap that thing up, and he wrapped it up with that, which, is the truth. But as you say, PK, ouch.
All right,
I do think bowl eligibility hangs in the balance here now because they haven't won a road game. They've got to go to UNLV and to Fresno, and they got Boise at home. I mean, assuming they beat Nevada, they got to win one of those 3 games. None of them look easy. Doesn't mean you can't get it done, but I think what looked like the easiest path on paper is gone now. Win at Hawaii or New Mexico, and they didn't get either one of those. So,
right, I thought that bowl eligibility would be a heck of a lot easier. I thought that whoever won that game between the Lobos and Aggies was going to get bowl eligible, and the other one was going to have a difficult time, and that's the situation that they put in for themselves.
Bronco Mendenhall coming up at 8:30 this morning. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
First down, it's a Bachmeier run. Straight ahead, Bear, Bachmeier, touchdown! Again, BYU takes the lead. Bachmeier had to rush it to the end zone. Caught! Kingston is there! Parker Kingston, touchdown out of nowhere!
We're not at that point quite yet, but he knows what it takes to be effective in the fourth quarter.
Intercepted, taken away from Burkle at Satuwala to the end zone for a touchdown.
Slow start for BYU, down 17-7 after a quarter, 24-10. But PK, what is the most important stat after the final score?
NIL.
And turnovers. 4 of them. Count 4 takeaways for the BYU defense, 0 giveaways for the offense. You win the turnover battle 4-zip. You have a chance at getting off the deck and wiping out a 2-score lead on the road, and that's what they did. They just completely owned the second half, 24-3. So, and it was actually 31-3 to end the game because they got a score there at the end of the half to kind of get back in it. Those turnovers were huge. That first interception, it was such a bad throw that I just wonder if it's the throw if a receiver ran the wrong way or something because there's nobody there except the BYU guy just hanging out like, I got it. You got a fair caught that thing.
Oh, I thought the ball got tipped at the line.
Oh, okay. Well, then that would explain it because that was weird.
Yeah.
That was a gift.
That's why
Take it.
It led to it being underthrown.
And it wasn't.
It
wasn't just
Tui who got it.
Yeah, it wasn't just one. I mean, they just kept taking the ball away over and over, and just all the momentum, the dejection. Iowa State shoulders dropping, and by the end of the game, they were just thumping them.
Yeah, I thought the 2 biggest situations, not necessarily individual plays. One was an individual play, but the drive at the end of the first half that got him the touchdown because it seemed like that game might have had an opportunity to get away, and the Cougars with a big-time drive right before the halftime came about. And then obviously Satuwala, man, he's looking like a star. He's already a star. He's not a star in the making. He's already a star, and he gets that, reverses it, takes it all the way. At that point, you felt like, okay, this game is over. They've got it's a big road win. Any road win is great. But Iowa State, maybe they're not as good as we think. I guess the record says what it says. But still going in there with a full house and all that stuff, and Iowa State playing for its conference title hopes basically on the line, and to come away with that win, that's just tremendous. And to move to 8-0, it's amazing with a freshman quarterback and all that stuff. And I don't really know football. I never put my hand in the dirt. But if I'm Texas Tech, I might want to watch out for the QB draw. Not that I know a lot about football.
You think there's a chance Bachmeier's going to take the ball and just head straight upfield, huh?
Yeah, like 10 times.
Yeah. Well, as you pointed out, the Red Raiders have used 3 quarterbacks this year, and with Hammond out, can Morton go? And if not, Mitch Griffiths, can he get it done? But BYU's got 2 weeks now because they got the bye week to get ready for that game.
Yep.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
Sit him in motion. Ficklin keeps it. Has some real estate into plus territory. Up to the races. And the true freshman quarterback on play number 2 reaches the end zone. Byrd takes flight right away from 63 yards out. Parker, the running back, he motions out quickly. Ficklin towards the end zone. And there it is again. Another touchdown. Larry Simmons from 20 yards out. And the route is on in Salt Lake City. The Utes a statement half tonight against Colorado.
Utah 53-7 over Colorado, and it wasn't that close. PK, all week I was talking about Utah is really good at the run and Colorado's really bad stopping the run, and I undersold it. 422 yards rushing. Second highest total. They didn't need their quarterback. They had their backup, Byrd Ficklin. No Devin Dampier, no problem. That was 40-0 in the second quarter.
Now, and I would argue they have their quarterback.
Byrd Ficklin.
Yeah, what are they going to do? I mean, he can downplay it, and he probably will today, speaking of Kyle. But the kid looked electric. What
Devin Dampier have did that Byrd Ficklin have not did? Say it, PK. We want to hear it from you, not from me.
No, you handled it, but is he better? Remains to be seen. Now, maybe the competition sucked, but obviously it did. I thought Colorado was better, but they rolled over. Deion yelling at his assistants as he should. That was an embarrassing performance, probably their most embarrassing that they've had in the 2.5 years that Coach Deion Sanders has been there. The non-competitive right from the start, literally the first play and then the second play, and then, gosh, turn off the TV. You didn't really need to see anything more. So what's the story here? Remains to be seen what they come up with. But Ficklin, only 10 of 22 on passing, but there was no emphasis on the passing and run the ball, and he's electric. So we'll see what happens there. And obviously they got the huge game Saturday against Cincinnati. And for all the Ute fans who thought their season was over, and no, it's not. It was never over, man. They still have a chance to have an outstanding season, even if they don't get in the conference final. But it's possible that they can get in.
I thought we can get into this later, but I thought Ficklin's ability, some of the throws he made, I mean, obviously some of them were errant, 10 of 22, right? So, but his ability to throw the ball down the sideline with some heat on it and put it on target sometimes. You want to be more accurate than that, but there is the threat of a big play that isn't there with Dampier. He can throw it that far. Now, he may overthrow it. He may miss it. But he can throw it that far. I mean, the ball was coming out of his hand with some real zip.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati Saturday night. So another 8:15 home game. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Sabonis gets knocked out by Nurkic all the way up top. Runs a handoff game on the left wing with Monk. Finds a rolling Sabonis. Clayton anticipates and steals. Outlet to Markkanen. Big steps to the rack. Lowry finishes. Jazz closing a close game for the first time this year. Markkanen. Deep three. Straight away. Pow! Lowry, Markkanen, how do you do? Keontae meets Schroeder with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Left side to Levine. He goes one-on-one on Keontae. Drives right, into lane, caught underneath, throws it away. Loose ball into the backcourt. It's been tipped. The Kings have it. The game's still active. 8 on the shot clock. Monk driving, cut off by Kessler. Floater, no. Rebound, bounces around. Sabonis, back up and in. 6 seconds left. Sabonis scores it, and he's fouled.
And that was the perfect loss, was it not, PK? At 2-0, there would have been hand-wringing over losing the draft pick to Oklahoma City, but play a close game on the road, lose right at the end on that Sabonis bucket there, 105-104. Isn't that what most people wanted?
I'm sure. I guess if you're looking for the losses to pile up, but I wonder how many are going to pile up. These teams look like they got something. At least compared to last year, the team looks a lot better. And I think a lot of it is Markkanen, if he's going to play and play well, which more often than not, if he does play, he's probably going to play well. And he was barely in there last year, 47 games. And George looks a lot better. He looks more under control. He looks like he's still a youngster, but it looked like it's just 2 games. I get it. And they got the Suns tonight, and they should win that one. But to me, it looks like George went from year 2 to year 5, if that makes sense.
The big jump to year 3. I mean, that's what we're always looking for. We talked about that with Walker Kessler last year, and he made that jump. And it's early to say anything definitive, but you're right. Keontae looks better. And 18 points, 10 assists. Move the ball. Help your teammates score.
Yeah.
Yes.
He just
excellent.
looks like he understands more, and he's not trying to just jack up a bunch of shots. It's like he just looks like he's a seasoned player now who understands his skill level and where he fits in.
And this may well be a 30-win team, not the 20-win team everybody's talking about. But if they start piling up road wins, look out. You know, they're going to win home games. They're going to play hard, and teams are going to come in here at elevation, and they're going to rest guys, and they're going to not even bring guys. They're going to win some home games, and you're right.
Yeah,
they ought to get another one
tonight.
against the Suns tonight. They should.
Right.
6 o'clock for the pregame. Tip-off at 7. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Austin Reeves, 51 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. The Lakers win without LeBron James and Luka Doncic. They're both out. Sacramento goes and gets beat by the Lakers. Austin Reeves had it going, PK.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. He was undrafted, available for everybody. We saw him a couple years back. The kid's just gotten better and better. It's a success story. It's not always just the top guys that we figure out who they are and they do what they do. And I mean, obviously he had more FGAs and opportunities and everything with the top guys out, and he's not going to be be afforded that opportunity when they come back. But obviously for a game, he just went out of control and had just a massive game. But maybe, he's a great third option who's ready to step up in the manner like a Jeff Hornacek was back in the glory days.
22 free throws for Austin Reeves, and he made 21 of them. Yes. There are teams that don't come anywhere near that in a game, and he got it all by himself. Cooper Flagg, if you haven't seen the dunk, he's Cooper Flagg. You ought to be able to dunk. But that was a nice poster dunk. And the Mavs beat the Raptors 139-129. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Archer sends a towering drive, right center field. Kiss it goodbye. The 1-2 pitch. Popped up, left side. Yamamoto goes the distance again.
Yamamoto, 1 run, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, no walks. Another complete game for him. And the Dodgers are now tied 1-1 with the Jays after the Jays smoked them in Game 1, 11-4. The Dodger bullpen, finally a problem. But Game 2, no bullpen, no need. So now with the day off, everybody, whole Dodger bullpen ought to be rested and available and ready to go tonight. Game 3, 6 o'clock, Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I saw a headline that said Dodger bullpen at its best when it's watching.
Nice.
And Yamamoto, man, they paid him over $300 million, and we're seeing why.
Yeah.
He's, right now, you got, he's the best pitcher in the game, but they only got 2 teams. You can argue that he's elevated himself in the top 2 or 3 pitcher in the entire MLB. Skeen's over there in Pittsburgh and the Detroit kid, other than that screwball. But other than that, man, he's right there.
Who else is allowed to pitch? Forget the complete game, even allowed to pitch into the 7th or 8th inning. And this guy's going 9.
Yeah, well, he's
total
not throwing
outlier.
a lot of pitches. He's getting outs, and he's just got it going on.
Yeah. DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
Sponsor exemption to a PGA Tour card. That's a nice little story right there. Bank of Utah Championship. Michael Brennan, first career PGA Tour title. 22 under par at Black Desert Resort to win comfortably, PK.
Absolutely. I was following him. I was at the game. I was at the course. He bogeyed 10, and competitor Rico Hoey got a birdie. You think, oh, man, is it going to be a slide? But no, he goes and recaptures it and does win 18, which is his total stress-free path to victory. Yeah, talking to Patrick Manning, who's the managing partner there. They were back in one of their properties, Reef Capital, back in the D.C. area. close to where Brennan's from. His parents were there at the time. They get hooked up and said, hey, we'll give him a sponsor exemption. He comes out, and he had just gotten his Corn Ferry Tour card. Well, now he didn't even need to go on the Corn Ferry Tour. He can go straight to the PGA Tour for the next couple of years. 23 years old. And when I got there on Thursday, they were talking about, hey, keep an eye on this kid. He might be an up-and-comer. You never know. It could be an outlier, or it could be the start of something, because everybody's going to start somewhere. And so there you go. And he gets that thing done. It's very impressive. I know they like the bigger names. Everybody wants to see the bigger names. But, if Jason Day would have won that, say, for example, would it have meant as much to him as it does to Brennan? And to see his parents there and getting choked up and all that stuff? It's like, in a sense, this is their major, because they need to get going. He's 23 years old, time's on the side. So we'll see what happens. And then it was a great experience in the hospitality area where Nick Faldo got a chance to meet me.
Way to hold on to that. Did he send you that video, or did somebody else? The video you shared with me about the
T-Box people.
The T-Box, yeah.
They sent it to me. I got to meet them all during the week that I was there. Yeah, and so Faldo is going to be there today and tomorrow. They're having a seminar with the T-Box people. It's a company out of Centerville. And he is clearly an investor involved in it, so he's going to be over there today and then tomorrow.
PK.
And if you go on Twitter, I got my picture taken with him. Couldn't help it.
You've never been on a charter flight, but you hang out in the luxury suite with the gazillionaires.
I've been on a charter flight.
Just you and Nick.
Well, I got in
no big deal.
A friend of mine let me in yesterday. It had nothing to do with anything. But although I knew he was coming, because I've spoken to the Reef Capital people throughout the week, and they had told me, in fact, one of the Reef Capital guys, all of them are listeners. They all listen to the show. There's one guy who didn't know who I was, and that's because he's from New Mexico. Everybody else that I've met them all, and they all listen to DJ and PK. And they had told me when I was standing there on the 10th hole, I got that little tap on the shoulder from one of the Reef Capital owners, a guy named Parker Enlow, and he said, Faldo will be on site here within the hour. And he was, and it was fun to be there. Now, he was, I don't say he was bothered, but a few people went up to him, and then he was okay.
DJ and PK.
#NHL.
Face-off win by Schmaltz again on the power play. Wide open. Sergachev scores! Power play goal for Utah, and we're tied at 1. Sergachev unloads from the high slot. And he picks up goal number 2 on the year. Right off the face-off win by Nick Schmaltz, Sergachev walked in and lasered one past the blocker of Connor Hellebuck. Mammoth cannot clear. Gunther just took a hard hit from Cole Koepke, and now Peterka steals one in the offensive zone, and he gets blasted by Chibrikov. Gunther shoots and scores! The clutch kid comes through again and puts Utah ahead 3-2 late in the third.
Utah Mammoth win another game. That is 7 in a row. And they do it because they win another third period. They are really good in the clutch. It was 2-2 going to the third. And Peterka did the dirty work on that goal. He did get rocked. He was laying by the boards. But he was able to win the puck. Just gave up his body and got a beating. And then Cooley with a super slick pass to Gunther just blasted it home. And they're making it look easy, PK. 7 in a row, best record in the division, best record in the Western Conference, tied for the best record in the NHL on 16 points with the Devils, who've actually played one less game. So I guess you got to give them the top mark in the league.
Yeah, well, they can be good in the clutch, but some of the time there is no such thing as clutch with them.
Yeah.
I mean, where they have 7 and they came back and the next game got 6.
Yep.
That's very impressive. St. Louis was 7 and then Minnesota was 6.
7-4 and 6-2.
Wow.
Yeah. They crushed a couple of teams. They wrap up the road trip in Edmonton against the Oilers. That's tomorrow. Puck drops at 7:30 here on The Zone. What is trending? Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. All right, coming up next, question of the day, hot takes or toast. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Utes, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. It's back-to-back home games for Utah as Kyle Whittingham and the Utes welcome the Cincinnati Bearcats. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah football and your chance to win tickets to the game. Then catch College Football Saturday, game day at 10 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com.
Let's go then. Let's go, baby.
Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Hans and Scotty tomorrow from noon to 3 at the Grill, 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. DJ and PK, it's time for Hot Takes or Toast, the question of the morning. BYU gets a huge second-half performance to beat Iowa State on the road. They improved to 8-0 overall, 5-0 in the Big 12. How can you not be impressed? Or, as they say in the movies, PK, are you not entertained? Little Russ Crowe gladiator for you. Josh, Utah fans will say BYU is lucky. Josh, can't you just talk about your team? Apparently not.
Come on, Josh.
Come on, Josh. Shay, and they're doing it with a freshman quarterback who is now already a BYU legend.
Already, huh?
Legendary status in October of the freshman year.
I'd halt the estimation on that just a little early to go in that direction, but obviously it's trending literally as well as it can. But, some tough games still remain to be played. You have to go on the road to Cincinnati and obviously Texas Tech. But this is, as far as what they needed out of Saturday, they got, because Chase Robertson say I never doubt or lose faith, and that's true. But did they always believe to the level that they now believe? I would say they needed that, and there you got that proof that, man, you can go into a place and win that, and you can play the disrespect card. Portnoy going on the Fox pregame earlier and saying, come on, how are they not in the top 10? I still don't think they're getting the respect that they deserve. We had on Trammell on Thursday, and he was talking about how Georgia Tech should never be rated ahead of them, but they are. And the whole idea is to get two teams in the conference or in the tournament from the conference. Brent Yormark was on the Kansas State game, and he's making his pitch. I mean, he's constantly selling. You can see that's his job, is to sell, and that's how he makes his money, to sell the Big 12. I thought he should have stayed completely on football and not tell us that the second-best basketball league is in the Big 12. Just keep going with football, because that's what you need. Basketball will take care of itself. There's basketball, you never really have to worry about any of that stuff, I don't think, because they've already got the respect, as all the conferences do. You get multiple teams, and then it literally is put on the field, or on the court, I should say, as far as that goes, because we'll see if you got 4 teams, 5 teams, whatever amount of teams in the Sweet 16, Elite 8. It speaks for itself, so you don't really have to sell it the way you have to do in football, particularly from the Big 12 perspective. And is the Big 12 going to be accorded the respect it deserves? And BYU right now should be that team, because Texas Tech does have the loss, and they don't. And here we go. And now they got that opportunity to prove it. We can win on the road against a really good team. So their confidence right now should be at a season high, which is important.
Better team, best team they've beaten, and also they beat them more decisively, right? Arizona and Colorado squeaking it out, overtime, 3 points. But this one by a couple scores, and it was over.
Yeah, you're talking about exclusively on the road.
Just exclusive road wins, yeah. And they had East Carolina in the non-conference.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and now, of course, the bar gets raised because Texas Tech and Cincinnati are the next 2 road teams. So But we talked all year about the schedule. You build into it. The non-conference is easy. And then the first three conference games looked like the easiest part of the conference schedule. So just keeps ramping up. And so far, they've been able to clear the bar every time.
Yeah, and it's impressive that the adjustments they're making, because it looks like in a couple of the games, well, maybe three of them, like the possibility to get beat, if not get beat decisively, and they make the adjustments and shut them down. I mean, this was so impressive that they outscored Iowa State, 31-3? I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more, and it wasn't trending well. And then they're able to just reverse the storyline and just make it something completely different. It's amazing how they're doing it.
And I thought it was impressive that they did it with L.J. Martin looking sad over there on the sideline. He only got 5 carries, 15 yards, and then he got the report, okay, he's hurt, he's out for the game. Like, all right, well, how are they going to run the ball now? And a big dose of Bear Bachmeier is the answer. But they still had 100 yards rushing, and he was throwing it. I mean, that was a 300-yard passing performance. He was hitting open guys all over the place.
Yes, I mean, they needed to allow him to cut loose a little bit. It was clear the way they were going to have to win was by him throwing the ball and coming up with big completions, and that's what they got going. And that was super cool to see. They had to unleash him, and they've known that. They've known that there was going to come a time or times this season that they were going to be in that position where they're going to have to let it fly far more than they did earlier in the year, and that's super cool, and that's what they ended up doing. So at this point, you really can't ask for more. I don't see how you're not impressed. I mean, Ute fans got to be careful on this, because you can't say, well, they've played and beaten nobody, because you'd be indicting yourself. So, but I think they get that. They understand that that's not what they're going to say, because of that would be incriminating your own team. And your own team is really good. There's no doubt about it. You lost a game, whoop-de-doo, by 3 points. It's not the end of the world. But for BYU now, can they keep it going? And if they beat Texas Tech on the road, there's no reason why they can't. Can they go undefeated? Well, at this point at 7-0 or 8-0, I should say, you have to think, yeah, there's a possibility. Will they do it? Probably wouldn't bet on it, but there you go. Got that opportunity. 4 more wins is right there for you. And you would have done it. That would have been, in my mind, the greatest accomplishment and the greatest regular season that this program has ever had, if they should get that. Still tons of work to do. I understand all that.
But 12-0 in the Big 12 would be awesome. However, they got a bye week, then massive back-to-back games. So let's see if they can get to 10-0, and then we can consider the rest.
Oh, they get to 10-0, then they're going to get to 12-0.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
Don't touch that button. Check this out.
He is the general manager of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong. Dylan Gunther leads the league in game-winning goals. He's got 8 going back to last February. He's just got a knack for being in the right place at the right time. Is that just playing the game and having experience, or is it just instinctual? Where does that come from?
You don't teach a baby shark how to bite. They just know how to bite, and he knows how to score goals, and he's been doing it since he came out of the womb. Scored Team Canada's OT winner to win a world championship, and it's not by accident. He's got an incredible shot that he can get off quick. He can really shoot it. He's deadly accurate with it. He's been a blessing for our organization just because he wants the puck in the big game and he wants to make the big play and score the big goal.
It's Hans and Scotty, weekdays from noon to 3, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day today, Duran Duran. Happy birthday, Simon LeBon. It's brought to you by Live Nation for all the concerts and events in 2025. Check out livenation.com.
So about 30 years ago, I had a friend. It was a female. Her name was Duran. I always called her Duran.
And did she think that was funny?
I didn't care.
I believe that. I never liked them. I have the reaction of them that Kyle Whittingham has to you, too. Yuck. It's driving me nuts. Now we got them all morning. Thanks, Yawk. Thanks for that. Got a question up here, PK. Is Byrd the word for the Utes?
It was Saturday.
Yes, it was Saturday. I think that if we're talking about what's going to happen this week, I think it's all on Dampire's health. Kyle seems to be pretty loyal to quarterbacks coming off of injuries, and he's been all about Dampier's leadership and all of that. So I would think if he's healthy, he's going with Dampier. But Ficklin, man, he looked awesome.
I don't know outside of Rising if he's been that loyal. I mean, he's jerked around a lot of quarterbacks there, and they didn't know what was heads up. Travis Wilson and Kendall Thompson, and who was it going to be? Back and forth. Guys getting benched when they felt like you wouldn't even let me throw. Conversations that I had that I never exposed it because I didn't want to burn the kid. Didn't seem fair to be burning a college kid when they weren't getting paid like they are now and all that stuff. So he's gone up and down with quarterbacks. I don't think he'd have the stones to go with Ficklin if Dampier was fully healthy. But you gotta look at it and see what you got. And then do they make a change? That wouldn't surprise me if the offense was struggling. So if he does start Dampier, if it's not working, you got the Byrd is the word, who's electric. Looks like he might even be faster, if that matters to you. Yeah, to me, you got to be fast enough, and they both are. Who's the better passer? And because you can't just ignore the throw game, because the throw game then sets more free and looser in terms of setting up the defense to be able to run. So I'm not sure what they got going on there.
Nelly brings up the 800-pound elephant in the room there. I play him. He's a lot better thrower. I really liked him, but we won't play him, and, of course, he will transfer. The transfer portal looms for whoever isn't the starter. Are these guys too good? Will somebody come after one of them? Now, Kyle would probably say, hey, quarterbacks transfer. We got to do what's best for the team, and then whoever transfers. He's had enough quarterbacks transfer. We've seen him in other situations get asked about that and kind of roll his eyes like he's just over it. He's so frustrated by how quickly guys transfer. Yeah, that's
not even on my mindset. Transferring now, that doesn't even enter the concept of thinking. You've got
a month to go.
You've got games. You got 4 more games. You got 5 more games, minimum 5 games. That's nothing that's on anybody's mind. I don't think he's going to play anybody or not play anybody because he's worried about an off-season transfer. I don't know that teams would be beating down the door to get Devin Dampier for one season.
Don says everybody knows that the Byrd is the word. Does everybody know that?
Yeah, he sure looked electric, man. He looked electric as what he was doing. I mean, what a butt kicking on that. Right from the start, too. Literally, first drive, first run.
2 plays.
Wow.
Yep. 12 yards, 63 yards, touchdown, it's on.
I mean, that was a team that BYU needed a comeback from and needed a last-second interception to win that game. And this game here, Colorado was thoroughly embarrassed. They look like the Colorado of old. Whatever energy Deion Sanders has brought seems to be that the Utes just sucked it out of the program.
That was the quote afterwards. I haven't had a beating like that since my mama when I was a kid, something like that. That was a thorough thrashing. And even his first year, I guess I have to go back and look, but I don't remember anything like that. Just completely run off the field in the first half.
Yeah, they couldn't have been more embarrassed. That was a no-show effort. I mean, they just wasted time coming over here to play the game.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, more football. Bronco Mendenhall joins us at 8:30. We'll talk with the Aggie coach. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, a question you may not be able to answer, but I think one that is going to be really important here in the month of November. How many good quarterbacks does Texas Tech actually have? How deep can they go?
How deep can they go? How deep can they go?
That was my mistake, Yawk. I did that all by myself.
Cougars will really know because they're living in a world in which they win a natty again.
Okay. Let's get to the national championship and give up on the tune. That was probably a wise choice by you. It was pretty good, but you were going to run out of a landing strip there if you weren't careful. Texas Tech is on the road at Kansas State. Road games are tricky. K-State, I don't know. You're 4-4. I don't know what your problem is, but they are 3-2 in the Big 12. Maybe they're playing a little better. Can they rise up, play their best game of the year? Ranked teams going on the road and having some upset Saturday, and you look back and like 8 or 9 ranked teams losing, you find out, most of them are playing conference games on the road. That's why. It doesn't happen early in the year. We all get hyped up because they stacked their schedules, but you can't stack the conference schedules. It's where the real test is. So if Tech is down to their third-string quarterback, can K-State get them? Because it changes the race if they do.
Well, I think Morton will play, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think Morton will be in there. But, what happens? Kansas State, if you go into Kansas State and win the ball game, you can consider yourself as possessors of a good win. That's what matters the most. Did you win the ball game? At this point in the season, they're all huge, and you've already had, if you're in contention, you've already had good wins. You don't get to November just beating a bunch of cupcakes every week. It doesn't work that way. Not in the Big 12, right? So with that in mind, they will have an opportunity to get another good win. And if they get one in Kansas State, whatever Kansas State record would be coming in and out of that game really doesn't matter, because November clearly is crunch time, right? The end is in sight. You can taste it, you can see it, you can smell it, and all that type of stuff. And for Texas Tech, it's the reason why guys like Franklin and Kelly got fired, because they paid big money for these teams, and once you have that big money, you're expected to win big, right? And for Texas Tech, they paid big money for this team, so they're expected to win, and they all matter. And that's going to be a tough game, though. When I don't care who the quarterback was or is, that's going to be a tough game. And that's the way it should be, man. You shouldn't just have a bunch of easy games all the time. So I think Morton will play. I don't know that they'll win. I probably would think they would win, but I'm not going to guarantee it by any stretch.
Morton's played, he's either missed or come out of 3 games this year. But Griffiths was really good when he was in there. Obviously, the competition was terrible. So, this is Oklahoma State. But maybe,
right.
Your I think it was the Doman line, or it was a line about Doman, false confidence. He's got confidence. It's false confidence, but he's got confidence.
Well, I mean, they brought in a whole new defense, brought in a bunch of one-year guys because they knew the rules were changing a little bit, and they can give them the money this year and not have to answer to any governing body for it. So what's the defense going to be? Now they have a kid up front who's been lost with an injury, but everybody's been lost with an injury. Yep. The Devils, if they don't have Tyson and Levitt, they lose. It's as simple as that.
There it is.
They they lose when they don't have those guys. The facts speak for themselves. When those guys are together, speaking of Brandon Doman, when those two guys are together, it is a Brandon Doman-Luke Staley combination. And those guys literally never lost. But when those two guys aren't there, they stink. So everybody's got it, right? L.J. Martin, is he going to be out for 2 weeks? I don't know. We'll see what happens at the following week. But name me a team that is completely healthy. You're hoping that you're generally healthy. No one's going to be completely healthy. Are you generally healthy? And the positions where you can least afford to have guys out, are they able to go? But who cares? The game is still played, and it'll count one way or other. It'll count as a win. It'll count as a loss as far as that goes. But the point being for BYU, they're in a great spot. And I think I could argue they're in a better spot than they were last year. And now having gone through it last year, Kalani talked about, coming off a win over Utah, losing the next week. Well, that was at home. This time they went out on the road and got the job done. So it's all about gaining that experience and learning from it, and clearly they proved that they could do that by winning at Iowa State. And Bachmeier has something special about him. I don't know what it is, man. It's when they talk about it factor. Well, he's taking the it factor and he's jumping it up tenfold in terms of being able to make these big plays. And he seems just so completely unfazed, right? He's winning you ball games, and then the next day he's playing the guitar at a senior citizen center. This isn't a normal kid here for whatever reason. And just, it's like, this is an old school reference here, but with the Dodgers, it's on my mind. With them playing tonight in the World Series, they used to say, "Oh, Fernando, he didn't understand what the situation was. He was just some kid from another country playing baseball, not realizing even what he was doing." Now that was an extreme, nor do I think it was true.
True.
I think he knew exactly
what he was doing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like that's what Bachmeier is. He's just playing football. Do you see him? If he throws a pick, is his body language?
No, it never changes.
Just drooping.
Nope,
and if he throws if he throws a touchdown pass, is he jumping up and down? Not really.
You can't look at his face and know what the score of the game is.
Yeah. So it's really impressive to watch him just go about his business, and it's gone better than expected for sure. But I don't think the BYU coaches, Aaron Roderick, is like, they're not blown away surprised, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. In fact, I can tell you that's a fact. They're not at that level that some people may be. They're thinking, oh, this is a freshman. You know, they've been around him. They were able to be with him and all that type of stuff. Plus, it was years before when they go to the camps, and even if they don't get him in their school the first time around, they can do it, develop a relationship. So just the poise that he has and the ability just not to be rattled one way or the other is just super impressive here. So that's why I think they're in a better spot than they were last year.
9-0 last year when they lost the 2 games. 8-0 this year. And I guess that they've crossed this hurdle that got them last year is a big part of it. And now a bye week to see if they can get L.J. Martin healthy for the Texas Tech game. Although, isn't that game going to look a lot – we're getting way ahead of this. Isn't that game going to look a lot like the Iowa State game as far as the run-pass balance?
From the Cougars' perspective?
Yes. The Cougars are going to – I mean, you're going to have to run it a little bit, and you're certainly probably you have to run in the red zone to get a touchdown. You have to convert a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or something. But they're not. Nobody's running for 150, 200 yards on Texas Tech. This is not going to happen.
Probably not. I would be more concerned about BYU's defense now. They've been giving up a boatload of yards the last couple of games, so they got some stuff that they need to get better at and not get in these positions. Because at times, now it hadn't been the whole game, fortunately, which is why they won, but I think from the defensive perspective, it has been that they haven't looked as good. They haven't played consistent football for all 4 quarters. And I think you could argue that the offense bailed them out, although obviously Satawala makes the big pick, and they did come up with interceptions and all and turnovers, so that sort of mutes that a little bit. But I like the fact that they were able to clamp down. I just wonder if you continue to give up a bunch of yards and allow teams to move and get confidence on you, will that come back to bite you in a couple of these big ball games that you have?
And ultimately the answer to that is probably yes.
And that's what we need to see.
Right.
What's it going to be?
Which game and how far down the road?
Yeah. And the important thing here is I do think they have a mulligan. I do think that they can have a 1 loss and still get into the conference title game, and that's what it's all about. And getting there. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't really matter what your record is when you get there. You want to get there. And I felt confident last year to the point I haven't bought plane tickets to go, figuring that I would be covering that game. Now I ended up using them for other games that I covered, so it's no big deal. But here, it's the same thing. I have a high level of confidence. I think I actually have more confidence this year that they will get it done. And because we've had a little bit of separation, so I don't think we'll have a crazy four-way tie and some obscure tiebreaker. Clearly, obviously, BYU controls its own fate, and what they do with that remains to be seen. But I think that they could – I would be surprised if they did not go minimum 3-1. But it's going to be hard. It's not going to be like Texas Tech. Right now, I'd put my money on Texas Tech at BYU, knowing that Texas Tech still, if BYU beats them, would get a second loss. But I just think Texas Tech's schedule is so easy that even if they lose the one game, they should win the others because it gets the worst teams in the conference. And there's a little bit of a difference between the middle and the bottom. The conference is not 16 teams deep. It has a level of quality teams that runs pretty deep, but not that far. So right now, if I were betting, I would go Texas Tech and BYU.
So BYU could lose to Tech, beat Cincinnati, and there you go.
Yeah, now if they get that second loss, well, then we might be back in the same situation again. And as soon as I say that I don't think that there'll be multiple teams with 2 losses, I start thinking to myself, well, hold on there, buddy.
Is Houston going to lose to TCU or Baylor?
They can. Yeah, they can.
So as long as they lose one of that games, that would get them to 2 losses.
Right. And the Utes already have 2 losses.
Utah and BYU could both beat Cincinnati, and in this scenario, Cincinnati beats BYU though. So, yeah, it is hard to get not everybody, but all but one team to 2 losses. I don't know that you're going to have a 4-way tie like you did, but if you had an 8-1 team, you could have a 4-way tie for 7-2, and it's still crazy tiebreaker time. But it seems like 2 of these teams ought to make it to 8-1. Which is, I think, what frustrates the Ute fans. And it's easy to say, well, they lost the game by 3 points. It happens, but 10-2, and it doesn't look like the schedule's going to give you enough help to get into a tie where you might win a tiebreaker.
Yeah, okay. But still.
Unless.
Yeah, there's a level of frustration. If that came to that, there would be frustration. I understand that. But I think you can step back and feel good about a 10-2 football team that lost to one of the teams that got in. Maybe you end up losing to both of those teams, and one was down by 3 with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and the other you lost by 3. I mean, you've had breaks go your way if you think about it in the past. So I think you gotta go long range pitcher and say, yeah, that was a pretty good season with a lot of highs, a couple of lows, but a lot of highs. If I had a college football season and any team that I root for had a couple lows and had 10 highs, I think I wouldn't be completely satisfied, but I might feel like that was pretty good. I mean, come on here. I mean, the Utes are not world beaters where they just stomp everybody all the time. If they go 10-2. They're nationally ranked, and you should play a decent opponent in a bowl game. I really think you can feel good about that. Maybe that's just me, but that's the way I think.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. More college football coming up. Bronco Mendenhall is going to join us in the next segment. What do you think about Shehan today, Yawk? I know he's got other stuff going on. You're juggling. Okay. All right. Hopefully we'll get Shehan Jeyarajah here for our weekly Big 12 look. We'll see. He's got other stuff going. I don't know if you noticed, but a bunch of coaches are getting fired, PK, and it's turned everybody's lives upside down. Everybody's having to write a bunch of stuff and work all their sources.
I know, it's crazy. It's obscene that
$53 million.
Yeah.
Good grief.
There needs to be a level of accountability here as far as giving these people this much money to go away. It's just absolutely nuts.
They're looking for a new president, I guess, at LSU. So, I mean, that's who needs to be held accountable, right? President and athletic directors. But they're turning over so fast.
Well, then go to the Board of Regents. Go from the top all the way down.
Well, they had the governor involved in this one.
I would go to the governor. I'd go to the lieutenant governor. I would go the vice president of the United States. I don't know where I would stop.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You've been listening to The Zone for decades. Yes! But now you can watch the guys break down your favorite teams.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Catch the video stream of DJ and PK, Jake and Ben, Hanson, Scotty, and JJ and Alex right now at KSLSports.com or by searching KSL Sports on YouTube. Utah's best sports radio is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK. Duran is the band of the day. Duran, huh? I don't think I'm going to be able to shake that.
It worked.
Did your wife approve, or did she tell you to knock it off?
I think she might have the one who thought of it.
Oh, really?
Now that I think, yeah, we both called her that, the gal.
Duran. Okay.
Yeah, her name was it was like Duron.
Well, happy birthday to Simon LeBon. Duran's the lead singer. Celebrating his birthday. They're the band of the day. All right, time to talk a little Utah State football here. The Aggies continue their pattern of winning at home and losing on the road. It was understandable early on with the two SEC money games, which Bronco made a point of not liking those whatsoever at all. But the Hawaii game and now this New Mexico game, it's been a little harder to explain. We are joined now by Bronco Mendenhall, Utah State football coach. Bronco, good morning.
Good morning.
Bronco, you're all about mindset and accountability and having the right attitude and energy and executing and all that stuff. And I am intrigued because football shouldn't be this simple and where you play shouldn't matter. But I look at New Mexico and I look at Utah State. You combined for 16 games, I guess 15 since you played each other. And the home teams won every single game except when they went and played a completely dispirited, lost UCLA team. They went to the Rose Bowl and won. But they're winning at home and losing on the road. You're winning at home and losing on the road. It's not an accident when we're the 15 games deep in the season. What do you attribute that to? And I guess more importantly, how can you change it going forward?
Yeah, really good question. Just finished my team meeting this morning, and my team was flat, tired, and really uninspired after very good weeks of practice with that very thing being addressed. And so as a coach, maybe even as a parent, sometimes you think you've cracked the code and this is the breakthrough. And yet we didn't execute well really in any phase. I thought it was the worst football game we played all year. And so got out executed in special teams and offense and in defense. And even then had a chance if we stop a fake punt late to make a run at it. And so there's a program development part currently in my new job here at Utah State, where besides being dominant at home, which you need to be to have a good football program, man, you need to go at least 50-50 on the road to start breaking through. And we're clearly not there yet. And so, man, hard lesson to learn and really blunt feedback to my team this morning as we watched clip after clip of pretty uninspired football. Even when the execution was sound, how we were doing it really wasn't reflective of what I wanted to see, nor what they wanted to see, which was good for them to note. So, man, it is where we are, and we just have a lot of work to do still, especially when we take our team elsewhere.
This is something that you've done for several years. You know, you've taken over teams that needed major rebuilds. Yeah. So I'm wondering, obviously it's old hat for you, when you get in these situations, how much do you draw on your experience of having done this at multiple places and then do what you do, which leads to success?
Yeah, a lot. And to be clear, this is my 19th year. 16 of the 18 have been postseason eligible teams twice, which was the first year of a new job. My first year at New Mexico, last year we won 5. And my first year at Virginia, we only won 2. And then from there on, we were, always playing in the postseason. We're ahead of schedule from that standpoint here, from the metrics I've used from the past. But yet there's some things that are still reminiscent of the past, which we're already talking about. And really the focus the entire week was execution and consistency regardless of context. That means where we're playing as well. and yet it didn't quite take root. It didn't hold, and it didn't go with us. And so slippage happened as soon as we appeared. And that I'd hate to say, or I'd like to say that's not normal, but clearly for us and in my past, it's part of what has to happen to break through. And I was hopeful and expected, and really based on the week of practice and experience, thought that we'd be farther along than where we were. And clearly we weren't. And that's a misassessment on my part.
You know, I'd like to tell myself I'm still middle-aged, but that's probably a lie. But what I'm definitely not is young, and what you and PK definitely are not is young. And so I'm curious in this situation if there is some value in sitting down with your leadership group and saying, what's the problem? Because we're all of a certain generation, and maybe we're just missing some of the cues. And I'm wondering if there's a 21 or 22-year-old or 23-year-old or whatever who can tell you something that is in front of you. Because I know I talk to my kids, and I'm like, yeah, I missed that. I missed that signal. I didn't see it. Old guy missed it.
You know, interesting that you bring that up, and I'm so much more receptive and open to feedback. And maybe when I was younger, I viewed that possibly as a threat, or I was supposed to have all the answers. I think mastery comes when you actually realize how much you don't know and how capable these young guys really are. And in our team meetings, the transfer of leadership is really profound and apparent as they speak every day in front of the team. My leadership council meeting last week, they addressed it. They brought it to my attention and just saying, you know, there is a difference and we notice it. And so to your point, really fun when they bring it up, even without having me to then say, you know, what is it? And so they were aware, I was aware, the measures we put in place. Really, again, we thought it was on point, but it didn't end up holding. And so, work in progress with the process you just mentioned already going.
As I harken back to the times you were building BYU, because I was there, I wasn't there at the other places, so that's my frame of reference. You would talk about how, okay, this is the start, and we're not where we need to be personnel-wise, and you would mention this is what we need to do, and obviously you got there. Can you speak to what you think you need on this team personnel-wise to get where you want to go?
Oh, certainly. First of all, I would say, man, I love my team. I love the culture. I love the mindset. I love the work ethic. I love the belief. It's been an absolute just pleasure so far in working with these kids. And then as I now assess the league, see where it's going, also assessing the Pac-12 opponents, and then quite frankly, worked really hard to raise a lot of money at New Mexico to get the NIL and that going. And they basically replaced almost the entire roster and upgraded it with really good players. And so that is just simply a component now. And rather than talk specific positions, I don't think that's fair to my current team, and I don't feel great about that. But there's always position enhancements that as you get into it and you see, you're clear about maybe where you're stronger than expected, where the deficits are, and that plays out through the course of time. And so with the upcoming portal window, right, our approach will always address the needs we have to have in the portal. And then I'm a developmental program coach. I love high school recruiting, having kids coming back from missions. And so the balance now is getting the immediate needs up to where they need to be, reinforcing the positions that are maybe at deficit, and then having the program being built and solidified at the same time. And that's we have a bye week this week, and so besides preparing for Nevada the following week, there's personnel is on our mind too this week.
My experience is college coaches don't get to follow the NFL very much, but I see a parallel story for you in the NFL. The Bills looked great. Buffalo won 4 straight games to start the season. They were flying. People were talking about them like a Super Bowl team. They lost a division game to New England. They looked really bad on the road at Atlanta. They didn't look right. Atlanta got them. And so they had a bye week. And I don't know how they reset. I don't know if it's time away. I don't know if it's more film focused on the details. I don't know if it's 2 weeks of just being irritated with each other. Maybe that did it. but they smoked Carolina 40-9. Now, Carolina's not great, but you just don't see 30-point wins in the NFL very often.
No.
And it's like, all I thought was, well, Buffalo's back. And so somehow they leveraged the bye week. Something happened in there, and I'm wondering, how do you plan to leverage your bye week and so that the energy looks completely different coming out on the other side of the bye?
Yeah, that's the intent, and the college season is long, just like the NFL is, and there's academic requirements, and our program is super demanding, and it simply could have just been fatigue over time. I'm not willing to say and declare for sure yet, but our first bye this year was much like, hey, we're playing this week, and continue to drive the program and improve it and gain as much steam as possible in fundamentals and execution. This is much different. The nature of our roster and where we are, we're not as healthy. We are a little worn down, a little fatigued. And so how we frame this week will be a completely different bye week than our first one, with the very intent that you're hopeful that you just mentioned: energetic, engaged, vibrant. And we have a 4-game stretch of all Mountain West Conference games, 2 home, 2 on the road. And so this is really the chance to renew and regenerate and refocus and reset prior to that. And hopefully it's the same outcome you just mentioned.
Are we to the point where this is just beyond crazy with these coaches getting fired during the season and getting these buyouts that could just set up generations? It just seems so out of control, Bronco.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. The number of premier jobs, the dollar amounts being paid in restitution, and there's a government shutdown. People aren't getting paid. I just I don't know where to go with it. I really don't. So, and I'm not even sure what else to say.
We had this, and it's like you want to hold the AD who did it accountable, except it's so much money. The contracts are so big. We know it's going above the AD to presidents, but ADs and presidents are turning over so often, and Utah State's a prime example of that. I mean, you look around a meeting, and I guess your basketball coach, I was going to say you're the grizzled veteran, but I guess the basketball coach is. But everybody's been here 2 years or less. And so maybe it has to go all the way to the regents, or maybe it's just a sign of we're way too into sports. It's just this is a cultural thing bigger than any one person.
I think it's that. This is really becoming, and certainly in the profession, it feels like it. It's a win at all costs. And man, you really have to work hard to add additional substance values and other things to it. Otherwise, you can get sucked up in that, because it's hard to even breathe when you don't win, and because you know what's at stake. But again, the president and athletic director that hired me here, neither are here. The athletic director that hired me in New Mexico a year ago was gone shortly thereafter. And so I would say ADs not being able to hold their jobs, or burning out, or trying to deal with all the different challenges they have as well, very similar. And I don't know, and I can't speak as much to the presidents, but it's a bottom line oriented business, becoming more so every year because of the name, image, and likeness, the dollar amounts, what it's costing to fund rosters, and the expected outcomes that come with that. And that's for the coaches now as well, regardless of the buyout. So all we're doing is just increasing, right, the transitory nature of this, and really it's becoming, I don't know what other way to say it. It's like blood sport. It's win at all costs as a cultural thing, and that enhances the entertainment component because of I don't know how many likes the coaching carousel is getting, but I'm sure people are fascinated, and this coach is gone, and that's a whole story, a news cycle, and et cetera, and who's going to get the next one, and how much are they going to, it's taking on its own life, which is really an interesting thing for someone that especially just loves to develop young people and build hopefully consistent and great programs. And so, yeah, really interesting time for all coaches, all ADs, all presidents, but also especially someone like me that's a little bit older and maybe has a different value set.
Bronco, we appreciate the time as always. Good luck with the bye week, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. See you. Bye.
Bronco Mendenhall, there's the head coach of the Utah State Aggies. Ask a question, get an answer. That hasn't changed over the years, has it, PK?
No, not at all. If you come prepared, he's prepared.
The noise he made when you asked him about the coaching things, like, yep, we're popping open a can of truth right now. That's what's happening right here.
Yeah. I mean, totally out of control. Something they need to get a handle on it. It's crazy, man. The adults in the room keep trying to screw up this game.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And now, your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer's strong play of the weekend.
Scotty Barnes misses. He's back in the game. Mavericks running. Good ball.
Cooper Flagg's poster dunk. That's the Chevy Strong play of the game. Know it today after 3 o'clock. JJ and Alex will call for it, and you can win fabulous prizes. Yawk, you got the results on our NFL locks of the week?
I do.
We're not done yet, are we? Didn't PK end up taking the Monday night game? He was bouncing back and forth. Oh, he did
not.
He did not.
He's not going to like the results.
Oh, really? What happened?
Of it, and I went with him last time I ever do that. I don't ever listen to him again. Yeah, he talked me out of it.
I talked you out of it? I was benevolent and gave you the pick you wanted.
Yeah, but that's like, right, and you knew what you were giving me was the guillotine.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, here at the Atlanta Falcons, they're going to kneecap you.
Yes, you knew better than I did, so you're like, yeah, sure, yeah, you can have it. In fact, why don't you take it? Here, let me give it to you. I'll hand deliver it to you.
And I'm going to take the New England Patriots. You're going to win 5 straight. All right.
Yeah. Patriots are a success story.
Mike Vrabel's been the big difference there.
Absolutely, man. There's just no question about it. And Drake May, and they've gotten past it, you know. That's the great thing about – I picked Atlanta, and they sucked. And that was like the worst pick. I ought to be disqualified from the league. But to me, what's cool about the Patriots, obviously they had the great time, and then they go through a few lean years. But if you do things right, you can get back to where you need to go. I'm not saying they're the Super Bowl favorite, but obviously they're way more competitive this year, and it is a great opportunity for them to build. And so that's what the NFL is all about, is make sure you make the right hires, get the right players, and then you're on your way.
I also think they have a soft schedule. They won the one big game that they've had to play, and the schedule will change going forward. And that win over the Bills was impressive. There's no doubt about it. But it's been a steady diet of Browns and Titans and Saints and Raiders.
Well,
they did lose to the Raiders. They did lose that one. But
they playing any different schedule than Tom Brady played all those years?
Well, yeah, because when you finish first, you've got to play the other division winners in your conference. So that's 3 big games right there. Meanwhile, the Patriots are playing three games. Now, you do catch a break based on which divisions you rotate through. And to your point, how good is the AFC East?
Right.
Right. The Jets, I mean, you're going to get 4 – there's 4 bad games there. And they had the big one, and they got it done. They beat the Bills, and they went to Buffalo and did it. They've still got to play them at home. And we'll see how that works out. But see if that game gets flexed. I expect it will, and it should. I don't know what they'd be flexing out. I haven't looked into it, but that looks like a huge game.
But that's irrelevant because they were playing the same schedules.
Oh, they've been bottoming out against 3rd and 4th place schedules, to your point.
That's what I'm talking about.
They've been
so
down
you
for a while.
hire the right coach, get the right people in there, draft the right players, and you too can have success. It's hard to do, but it's not a mystery what the formula is. The Jazz are trying to do it literally as we speak. The formula is there. It's up to the owner to hire the right management and the right management to get the right people in place, and then you can have success. It's much different than college in a sense, to where money talks to the level who has it, who doesn't. There, essentially, you're all equal at the pro level. Not completely. I understand that. That's why there's no true definition of fairness.
Right, but the hard salary cap, it's pretty close.
Right, but I mean, some places guys want to be versus others, blah, blah, blah.
But a lot of that,
nevertheless, if you do what you're supposed to do, you too can have success.
A lot of that does come down to people, because As Nick Saban used to say, high-achieving people want to work with high-achieving people. And so we've seen different places.
That's why I chose you.
Different. That's why I chose you. See? There have been different places in the NFL that have been a cool place to be, right? I mean, the Giants have been up. The Giants have won 4 Super Bowls, right? With 3 different quarterbacks and a couple of different coaches. But right now, it's not seen as a cool place to be. It's New York, but it's messed up. Now, maybe, and Scadaboo's out for a long time, possibly the entire season. I really wouldn't see the point of bringing him back. The record's not very good. I assume it won't be very good. They'll probably be working on a draft pick if he's cleared to play anyway, if he's cleared to play. But maybe with Dart and with Scadaboo, maybe that'll, the energy changes, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's go play in New York. Those guys are good. Let's go. And you can pick all kinds of different places, and they've been up and down. Green Bay's been seen as a great place to play, but there was a time it wasn't. It wasn't viewed that way. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have made the Kansas City the place to be, and they went years without any playoff success.
Well, that's a classic example that has had success at the highest level. Hire someone who knows what he's doing, draft these people, develop them the way they're supposed to be developed, and away you go. They've got basically this current climate's version of a dynasty. I don't know where we're going to have teams winning 4 or 5 in a row, whatever it might be, but every franchise in every single professional sport and college, with the exception of a couple of wackos at the SEC, would take the level of success that the Chiefs have had in their college program, their high school program, their professional program, and be ecstatic about it, and that's where we're at.
Before we go, do we mention the fact that you picked Indianapolis.
And the Colts roll.
You want to talk about a story? It's kind of what you're going with. Daniel Jones.
It's in New York. And
considered a trash heap quarterback, and now we got him 7-1.
That's awesome. Yeah.
7-1 and flying.
That's really, really good. 7-1 is still a lot of work to do because they play so many more games at the NFL level. But in order to have a good season, you got to get to that point to where they are, and then you hope that it can continue and do what you do. But I just don't want to hear at the pro level about excuses. Because
it can't be done. It can be done.
There's a million examples. Yeah. Yes.
And when it gets out of control, there's a reason. Did you guys see either live or the clip of Alex Smith going after Woody Johnson?
No, I missed that. Eviscerated him.
You rarely see an ex-player try to take anyone down like that. But it was super personal to him, and he got into it. He said, as a player, you can't overcome a bad organization. And he went through multiple flaws, and he pointed out his own career, that he was in good places and he was in bad places. And, you get in a good place and you soar, and you get in a bad place and you're going through coaches and coordinators every year. And people are, why can't you make any progress? And then he went to the Jets. He's like, how can you dump that all on a 26-year-old? He's like, last year it was all Aaron Rodgers' fault, and now Aaron's in Pittsburgh, and look how that's going. Now, he said it when they were 4-2. Obviously, they lost, and they dropped to 4-3. But nonetheless, look how that's going.
New York would take 4-3.
Yeah. And he said, how's Sam Darnold doing? And he says, there's only one constant. You've gone through so many quarterbacks and so many coaches. At this point, why would you turn around and point at the quarterback? And he even said, obviously, Justin Fields is struggling. But there are reasons for it. And, I think it's 13 years.
He's going to stick up for quarterbacks, though.
He is.
I don't think it's that big of a surprise.
He is. But 13 years.
Every player is going to stick up for a player over an owner.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Yawk, did you get him?
We got him.
All right. Shehan Jeyarajah talking Big 12 race. It's getting pretty interesting. We will talk with him next. Stay with us. Join Hans and Scotty tomorrow from noon to 3 at the Grill, 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. DJ, PK, we're joined once again by Shehan Jeyarajah, CBS Sports National College football writer and analyst. Shehan, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. Are you more fascinated by a weekend full of games or the fact that $49 million record buyout that Penn State is paying, man, that record didn't last very long?
I mean, I'm still glancing at that first half Utah versus Colorado box score. I don't understand how something like that is possible.
That was
away like that.
Yeah, that was unreal. Have you handicapped the top of the Big 12 race now that you see how things stand with about a month to go here as we get ready to roll into November games?
Yeah, I did it last week for CBS Sports. Obviously, Arizona State losing Jeff Sims, I think, losing Sam Levitt and putting in Jeff Sims, I think shook things up even just a little bit more. But I think the heavy favorites heading into the home stretch are Texas Tech and BYU. Now, of course, Texas Tech has a loss. I think that they're still, though, the best team overall in the Big 12. They play each other, of course, on November 8th in a game that I'm very excited for. But, again, I think that we're starting to get to the point where you really have to start taking Cincinnati and Houston seriously as contenders. They're undefeated. Houston has one loss in conference play. Cincinnati is undefeated in conference play. Both are playing at an incredibly high level. I think that Cincinnati, the past couple of weeks, has really started to turn on the Jets. They've played really well in the trenches, of course, but I think that Brendan Sorsby is elevating this team in a way that, frankly, I was excited about his potential, but that I didn't necessarily realize he was capable of. So I think that that's the top group right now. Of course, there are other teams that still have a chance to get in. Utah, I still think, is alive with 2 losses. I think that, Iowa State has some upside, though obviously their loss to BYU might put them in a tough position. There are other quality teams in this league, but I think that the 4 that I mentioned off the top are the favorites right now.
I think injuries play a factor. It's just the nature of the game, right? It's the nature of the game literally at every level, no matter where you play. And I think we're seeing that with the Sun Devils, with Tyson out and Levitt out. But it's just tough. That's the way it goes. And so nobody really cares, as every coach will tell you, about your injuries. Well, now we got a situation with the quarterbacks at Texas Tech. What do you think about that impacting the race, given that their quarterback injuries that they're having?
It's definitely significant. I think that we saw whenever Baron Morton wasn't healthy, and Will Hammond did a good job, of course, of coming in and playing well. But, this team is different without great quarterback play. It's still very good, but it's different. And they did bring Mitch Griffiths over, a veteran from Wake Forest, but he wasn't somebody who was necessarily expected to play, even in a backup role. The comparison that I kind of heard to him is he wanted to come to Texas Tech more to improve his future coaching options than necessarily to be a player for this program. But, again, you've obviously seen Morton have issues. Now Hammond's going to be out for the rest of the season. This is a team that I think still does, in a lot of ways, go as its quarterback goes. And, again, when Morton's healthy, I think that this team is nearly unbeatable in Big 12 play. But this is definitely a damper. And it's obviously this team is very deep. This team is very talented. Defensively, they're the best team in the league. But we saw in the preseason, they lost running back Quinton Joyner, who was supposed to be their number 1 guy at the position. Now they're losing a key quarterback. Even for the best teams, you need to have a certain amount of injury luck, and it's starting to slowly pile up.
The goal in the league is to get 2 teams into the playoff. It doesn't look good. It is possible. But of the 5 undefeated Power 5 teams, BYU is the lowest ranked. They're 5th. Of the 1-loss teams, there's 11 of them, and it looks like they are 7, 10, and 11 with the 1-loss teams. And of the 2-loss teams, Utah's the lowest. Whenever there's a chance to give the Big 12 the benefit of the doubt, it's not happening. Now, this is AP voters. Maybe it's not going to be the committee, but the committee doesn't seem to stray too far from the AP voters. Do you think this is still possible to get 2 teams in, or the Big 12 is just the 4th league kicked to the curb and they'll take their 1 and they'll like it?
Yeah, it's really interesting to me the way that it's been handled, because I think about the comparison directly would be BYU versus Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech wins a nominal game against Clemson, and they're treated like they won a big game. Their schedule is pretty unimpressive, whereas, again, with BYU, you have a win against Iowa State, you have a win against Utah. I think those are 2 very impressive wins, to be frank, even though their first half of the schedule was pretty lackluster. So I do think that, again, I mean, I've said for the past 2 years, I feel like BYU is the singular most undervalued team and underrated team in America. I think that's continuing to this point. For them to be undefeated this late into the year with the quality of wins they have is, to me, pretty silly. But, and so it will be interesting, I think, to see how the committee views them. Of course, we're going to get the first rankings, I believe it's next week. And so, again, we'll see if the committee values some of the wins that they have, the schedule that they have a little bit differently. But look, I think that if the Big 12 has 2 11-1 teams going into the Big 12 title game, I think they're still in good shape. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One, we saw that with the ACC last year. SMU didn't have an especially impressive schedule, but even though they lost at the end of the game, they managed to make it in over Alabama. But the second thing, and probably more important thing, is that I don't think that there are that many great contenders from other leagues. I think the Big Ten is capped at 3. I don't think that anybody other than Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State has a chance to make it into the field from the Big Ten. There are a lot of teams that have a chance in the SEC, but a lot of them, frankly, are, one, have not been all that impressive to me, and two, I think are going to beat themselves up a little bit to close out the year. We'll kind of see how those things happen. I mean, I'm curious, for example, for a team like Texas, they go on the road to Georgia, and, could they actually impact Georgia's case to make the college football playoff if they pick up a win there? So I think the Big 12 is still in decent position to have a second team in the league, but you really need some things to go right in the month of November.
Well, we have your voice chiming in as far as the Big 12 and BYU. Now we have, I think, the country's foremost known pizza critic who is chiming in about the lack of respect for BYU and the Big 12. And I'm speaking of Dave Portnoy. He went on Saturday and went a self-titled, I think is what I'm trying to say, rant on BYU and the Big 12. And he says he's tired of the hypothetical. It's about the points on the scoreboard that matter. And that was before, obviously, the Cougars went out and won in Ames. So I think that I largely agree with you, but I think there might be some momentum. We used to talk about that Utah, every national guy would say they were under-respected and they didn't get their due. Well, it became a situation where they said it so much that they actually got their due by everybody saying that they didn't get their due. And I'm wondering maybe if that's a little bit of momentum building for the Big 12 that could help it.
And by the way, this is not a small deal that, when you have, I guess, let's say influencers, right? People who are involved in the college football world, people who are on major broadcasts on big networks, like that does matter, like you said. And Utah, kind of had that disrespect campaign for a long time. TCU, of course, as a non-power team, Boise State. And I will say this, right, for BYU, it does take time for any program to kind of move away from the perception of being a non-power team. I think that it's something that will happen, is going to happen. I would like it to happen faster, but I think that it will happen over the years as they continue to have success. One thing, by the way, and they have a chance to do it this year, is if they win the conference, it'll change everything about how people view them. I think even making the conference championship game and putting up a good effort would change everything. I mean, look at Arizona State. This was a team that a year ago was considered a little bit of, a bottom feeder, and they go and win the league, and all of a sudden Kenny Dillingham's the hottest name in coaching. Their quarterbacks, all this stuff happens. So I think that BYU will make it through. I think they will end up being more respected in coming years. But I'm glad that some people other than me are kind of paying attention now and saying, hey, you know what, this is a team that continues to win and continues to win big games and beat ranked opponents, and they're going to have a chance again to really, I think, have a strong season, win 11 games again. And so I think that as they keep doing it over the course of years, it becomes harder and harder to deny. So I think they should keep on at it, but I'm glad that more people are coming to their cause.
Here comes a question you probably can't answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. James Franklin's $49 million buyout, that record buyout, the record's been broken. LSU, $53 million to get rid of Brian Kelly. It's outrageous. It's actually kind of gross. There's people working who aren't getting paid for their work. The contrast couldn't be more stark right now given what's in the news. And yet schools, public institutions, pull the trigger, even if it's with private money, and write these massive checks. Can you change it? Can you stop it? You got any ideas?
Well, I'll tell you what, one piece of this is, man, if you're going to go to Washington and cry poor and beg Congress to do something about the state of college athletics, this is probably the worst thing you could do to build any sympathy, is fire these guys and give them $50 million not to coach. I mean, it's interesting, right? So I was actually at Mike Elko's introductory press conference at Texas A&M. Of course, they paid the biggest buyout in the history of college football, more than $70 million to Jimbo Fisher. And their then athletic director, Ross Bjork, said at the time, essentially, one, we can never do that again. And two, they created a contract for Mike Elko that was built on him, quote unquote, earning it. He was only getting paid, only obviously, but he was only getting paid $7 million, which is on the lower end of SEC coaches, but it was an incredibly incentive-laden contract. If they made the college football playoff, which it looks like they're going to do this year, he immediately gets a $1 million bonus. If they win a national championship, he makes $3.5 million extra dollars. So again, just crazy amounts of incentive money available. But unlike Jimbo Fisher, right, this contract isn't fully guaranteed. This contract isn't, all this sort of stuff. I think that there will be some programs, not all. I expect LSU to hand out another 10-year, $100 million contract. But I think that there are going to be some programs that sit back and think, hey, how can we adjust the way we're doing this to protect our program and create incentives to succeed? And secondly, I think that there will be a number of programs that say maybe the coach isn't the primary thing that we should be spending the vast majority of our money on. We're heading into an age where roster management and player compensation and just frankly cap management is becoming the top priority for an athletic department. Maybe we should approach this in a different kind of way. Again, it's not going to be every program. There are going to be some that feel like they have to take swings and make splashes, but I think the really smart ones that have a lot of success are going to be the ones who sit back and think, let's try to do things a little differently.
Is Lane Kiffin the hottest guy right now, or he got somebody else?
Oh, it's definitely Lane. I think Marcus Freeman is going to get attention too, but I think he's going to shut that down pretty quick, to be quite honest. I think the interesting thing, I mentioned the idea of swings. There are so few swing coaches available, right? Like, look at the top coaches in college football right now. I mean, it's one of the more unproven groups we've had in a while. Like, I think that outside of Kirby Smart and Ryan Day, everybody has some pretty significant questions about them. There isn't peak Urban Meyer, there isn't peak Nick Saban, there isn't peak Dabo Swinney right now. So I think that's one piece of it, is that there are just really not that many candidates to swing for. And two, Lane is one of the only ones that's quote unquote gettable because he's at Ole Miss, a program that hasn't won a championship since integration. And so I think that's why there's so much noise around Lane specifically, is that LSU and Florida fans are like, well, we can get that guy. Like I don't think that LSU and Florida fans are confident that they can get Marcus Freeman or that they could go get Ryan Day or C. Sarkisian or Kalen, any one of these coaches. But I think that's why everything has converged on him, because there's this obsession with trying to create a splash moment, and he's one of the only guys who seems poised to do it.
Do we have to admire the Alabama hire with Kalen DeBoer then all the more? I know after the loss everyone's wringing their hands, but man, they're 7-1. Their schedule doesn't look that tough. It looks like they're going to be right in the thick of it.
Yeah, I think that that's a great example of an athletic department and an athletic director not kind of giving in to their worst impulses. And look, Kalen DeBoer might not work out. We obviously, we'll kind of have to wait and see. The first season was inconsistent. The second has looked really good. But I think that their process, regardless of what happens, was very good. Obviously, they had the former Saban assistants, the Steve Sarkisians, there's also the Mike Norvell who gets into the mix. And again, do your due diligence, ask these people if they want to come. But when they say no, like there's no need to panic. There's no need to just take these wild swings. And look, Kalen DeBoer coached in a national title game that same year. Like obviously he wasn't picking up off the bargain bin, but I think that it was a really intriguing and shrewd decision to say, in this era of recruiting being driven by player compensation, maybe what we need more than anything is a coach who can maximize the moments, a coach who can build a strong staff, a coach who can be an incredible in-game coach, who can make big plays at the last moment. And Kalen DeBoer, in both of his first two seasons, has been that. Now, of course, there's been the question of, like, can you stay focused in some of these smaller moments? I think they've handled that a lot better in 2025 than 24. But, I mean, again, regardless of whether Kalen DeBoer ends up winning a title at Alabama, I think he's done a really good job. And I think that Greg Byrne, their athletic director, deserves credit for not just trying to say, let's go make it swing. Let's go get Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly like USC and LSU tried to do. Let's just try to find the best coach for this moment.
What do you think the going rate's going to be for these premier jobs?
I don't want to think about it. No, but it's funny, right? Because one, regardless of where Lane Kiffin goes next, and I tend to lean that he's going to stay at Ole Miss, I think that he will probably be the highest paid non-Kirby Smart coach in the SEC. And he will do that despite having never won a major conference or a national championship. So you're talking about the $11.5, $12 million range potentially if he ends up staying. I think for some of these other jobs, you're going to be pushing towards 10. I mean, the sort of median rate right now in the SEC especially is like $9 million. Lane makes that right now. Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri makes that. Like, that's just how much these coaches cost now. So I think that for Florida and LSU especially, you're going to see numbers in the $9 to $10 million range. And if LSU takes another swing, we could be pushing into the $11 to $12 million range.
The logic with Lane Kiffin, and maybe with lots of coaches, does it change if you take one of these mega offers from LSU, or Penn State or whoever, you got to know what you're walking into, even if Wisconsin comes open. Whereas you've built up a ton of goodwill. To your point, he's not being paid at Ole Miss for national championships and conference championships. He's being paid for how much he's raised them above their historical spot in the conference, which has not been in the top 5 teams in the conference. Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Georgia, Florida have all had higher profiles than Ole Miss. And now he's got them in the top 10 in the country. On paper, they ought to finish 11-1. They certainly shouldn't do worse than 10-2. So isn't that what he's getting paid for? And if you got all that goodwill and the fact that now it seems like you can win almost anywhere, unless the Ohio State job comes open, why not stay at Indiana? Why not use that as your example? What Cignetti did, why not? And I think you think he's going to do that at Ole Miss. Isn't that the logic?
Yeah, I think that it's 100% the thought process that you have to have if you're one of these coaches. Because like you said, I mean, there are certain jobs that are a little different, like Ohio State's a little bit different. I think LSU is potentially a little bit different. That's one that I think gets interesting. But, like, I don't know that Florida is that kind of different anymore. We'll kind of see whether Penn State is that kind of different anymore. The gap between power conference jobs, let's say at the top half of the power conference, is smaller than it's been in a while. And so, of course, Lane being at Ole Miss, that's a big part of it. And these coaches are competitive. They obviously want to put themselves in a position to win titles. But Ole Miss has also been particularly aggressive when it comes to rev share and NIL and building resource and all this sort of stuff. Like they are kind of revolutionary in that space. And by the way, a way that LSU and Florida were slow to adjust. And so I think that, again, if you're at one of these really good jobs, I mean, the gap between really good and great is relatively small. Like, obviously this is not a situation that would happen, but I was asked by somebody, like, why has nobody tried to make a monster run at Ryan Day? And it's like, well, the reality is this, right? Like, even if you get paid more money, you can't necessarily replicate some of this stuff that you've already built up at a different school. I mean, Curt Cignetti already came in and made a giant pitch at Indiana and managed to get everybody on board. Does he want to do that again at Penn State? I don't think he does. I think Matt Rule, even, for example, obviously tons of connections to Penn State, but like he's already had to kind of do his whole tour of winning people over at Nebraska. Does he want to do it again if he goes to State College? Like, I don't know that he wants to. So I think that these are more complicated, interesting, and difficult decisions than they've ever been. And the other piece of this, too, is that more programs than ever before at least have the ability to invest at that top level when it comes at least to player compensation. And for that reason, I mean, we've seen it with players as well. Coaches have the ability to be at a place that they want to be at longer than ever before.
We'll leave it right there. Shehan Jeyarajah joining us, CBS Sports National College Football writer analyst. I don't know what's going to happen next. You may not know either, but it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fascinating time. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you. Shehan joins us every week right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When we come back, everything you missed in this show. The red-hot hockey team. Apparently that's kind of an oxymoron. But nonetheless, how else do you describe it? A clutch loss by the Jazz. How many more of those do they have, though? We'll get to that coming up, plus more football. Stay with us.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
Don't touch that button. Check this out.
He is the general manager of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong. Dylan Guenther leads the league in game-winning goals. He's got 8 going back to last February. He's just got a knack for being in the right place at the right time. Is that just playing the game and having experience, or is it just instinctual? Where does that come from?
You don't teach a baby shark how to bite. They just know how to bite, and he knows how to score goals, and he's been doing it since he came out of the womb. Scored Team Canada's OT winner to win a world championship, and it's not by accident. He's got an incredible shot that he can get off quick. He can really shoot it. He's deadly accurate with it. He's been a blessing for our organization just because he wants the puck in the big game and he wants to make the big play and score the big goal.
It's Hans and Scotty, weekdays from noon to 3. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. The Utah Jazz lose Friday. Now, if you were thinking they can shock the world and be a playoff team, that's the kind of loss that really ought to bother you. Sacramento is gettable, and they were right there for the getting. And they had a chance, and they had the lead, and they couldn't get a rebound, and they gave up a bucket, and they couldn't win the game. And Sacramento then went and played a Laker team that was missing their 2-star players and gave up 51 to Reeves and lost that game. So if that was your goal, then that's a bitter loss. If you're one of the many Jazz fans who don't want to give up a draft pick, I think they're going to win home games. I think you play hard, and other teams come in here and they don't, and they're worn out on the road, and their stars sit, and the Jazz have enough to go out and win some games. So I don't think it's going to be some debacle of a season where they struggle to win. They're going to lose a lot. But, PK, if they start winning road games, I get why that would bug people who are worried about the draft pick.
I don't know what percentage are worried about a draft pick. I don't think it's devastating if you lose a draft pick. You can find ways to overcome it, especially if it's at the expense of wins. Not some stupid lottery thing that screws you up.
May go against you anyway, and you may not get one of the top 3 players that everyone seems to agree are all franchise changers.
Yeah, so with that in mind, what do you have there? If it comes with a much better season, 10 games more than anticipated, 15 games more, 20 games more, 25 games more.
Okay, stop.
30 games more.
I was with you at 10. 15 seemed like a stretch, but hey, my prediction's been bad before, so sure.
I wanted to see how long I could go before you interjected.
To see how long before DJ tries to rein me in.
That's enough.
Sprinkle a little reality on the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, if they're going to win 55 games, are you going to accept losing the draft pick? Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
I slipped in 10. I didn't get a reaction. I went 15.
10, because I think there are a lot of people who think 20, and I think 30 could be done. Now, does everything have to break your way, and you got to stay healthy, and you need young guys to develop? But it's super early. But first impression, Keontae George looks like he's making that third-year step. Okay, now he's got to do it again and again and again and again, because that's the magic of pro sports, is being able to do it over and over. But 30, while a bit of a reach, I don't think is ridiculous. You going to 40? Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but I've been stunned.
You got a dream?
I've been stunned by one 40-win team in Jazz history. There was absolutely no chance that first year after Stockton Malone, I thought Jerry Sloan was going to coax 40 wins out of him, and yet he did. So I don't think I'll see it again, but who the heck knows?
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen. What's crazy is Keontae George is all of 22. He'll turn 22 next week, so we'll give him 22, right? Mm-hmm. Which is still pretty doggone young when you think about it. And he comes out as a freshman, so what? He'd be a senior this year, but nobody says that anymore. But the fact is, he's still turning 22 November 8th, I think it is. And to me, he is looking like he's – and it's so dang early, I get it. But he's looking like he's 26, 27, and he's got more experience behind him. And maybe that's the fact that they were able to expedite his experience and his journey because he got a bunch of minutes when, if he was on a good team, he probably wouldn't have gotten those minutes. And so he's been able to do some coaching, some introspective of like, what do I do? Where do I fit? And obviously they've worked with him mentally and physically. I mean, the skill set is there. I mean, we can all see it, but it was more than that. And it looks like just a couple of games, he just looks to me like a different player. Like, hey, I'm one of the older guys. Even though he's not, he still, to me, looks like he's taken on a mantle of, I'm a man now. I was a kid before, but I'm not a kid anymore. I'm in my third season. I've got Will Hardy, and we go back and forth now. I know him. He knows me, blah, blah, blah. And so it just seems like it's been expedited, which is cool to see. That's what you need, right? And we'll see how it plays out and go from there. And Kessler can do what he can do, and Marketing can he can play. That's the bottom line, is Marketing has the ability to do well when he's out on the floor. When he's not out on the floor, he can't do well. And so I have a level of optimism, but at the same time, I got to admit, I'm watching that game against Sacramento, and I'm rooting for them to lose.
You know who doesn't lose is the Utah Mammoth. That's 7 in a row, winning different ways. It was defense at the start of the year. They were one of the last two teams that held everybody to 3 goals or less. And then finally they had the 7-4 game with St. Louis. But after a couple of high-scoring games where they jumped on them early, PK, it was right back to grind it out in the third period, which is what they'd been doing in the first few games of the season. And 2-2 going to the third, and they get the big goal from Gunther, although a great pass from Cooley. And, man, Peterka's the new guy, and you got to earn your stripes to the new team and all that. And, I mean, he does come in with quite the reps, so I'm sure they're excited to have him and all that stuff. It's not like he has to prove himself in the NHL. But nonetheless, to do the dirty work and to get blasted, but to win the puck, after a sprint to the puck, which he was a little behind and then he pulled ahead, I thought that was pretty impressive. It reminded me of that quote from the general manager, Bill Armstrong, that cracks you up. We bleed on the ice. It's what we do.
Yeah, we're hockey players.
Yeah. I mean, he sprinted. He won a race in which he was behind, and he got clobbered, but he won the puck, and it led to the winning goal in a second and a half later.
Well, his rep was being very fast on skates and being on the ice, and so we've seen that. He had a play. I can't even remember which game it is now, and they haven't played that many. But he just bolted out of there like he'd been shot out of the proverbial cannon, and just boom, he's right on top of the net there. And so what we've heard about him has proven to be true to this point. And I think the most important thing for this team is, you're going to have some games in which things go your way, but good teams grind out ways and find ways. We talked about that with BYU football. The odds were against them at that point, but they found a way to win a ball game, and that's what it is. In this case, hockey, they don't call it ball game, but you get the point. Find ways to win, because over the course of a season, and more importantly, in a course of a 7-game series, you're going to have to find ways to win. Everything's not going to come so easy for you, and that's what they're doing right now. And the thing that I like, and I'm going to keep saying this until it actually has been clinched, is don't worry about getting in the playoffs. have the focus be on your seeding. For years and years, literally 2 decades, that's what the Jazz had. It wasn't a question of whether they're going to make the playoffs. It's a question of where were they going to slide on the seedings. Were they going to go up? Were they going to go down? What were they going to get, right? And if this hockey team can have that, when we get into February, at that point, well, yeah, it's apparent that they're going to go into the playoffs, but what's going to be their seed? I think then that raises the expectation and takes it up another level of simply the preseason and over the summer talk was get in the playoffs. That's our goal. Well, then if you are solidly in by the time you get to February, the goal changes. And let's find a way to win that first round and go from there.
Mammoth now sit in first place in the division. They've moved past Colorado. The Avs have lost 4 in a row, a couple of them in OT and another one in a shootout, all of them the one-goal variety. But nonetheless, they got the top spot there, best record in the West, and tied for the best record in the NHL. So it's Jazz tonight, Mammoth tomorrow. Jazz and Suns tonight, and the Mammoth are play the Oilers in Edmonton tomorrow to wrap up the road trip. The football, you mentioned BYU, the comeback win, up a spot to number 10. Still the 5th of the 5 unbeaten teams in the polls, but respect for BYU in the Big 12 comes slowly, begrudgingly. Got to keep winning. But that was impressive watching that Iowa State game. It had the feel of, you go on the road and everything goes wrong and you dig a hole and they're desperate. But they got 1 turnover and they got a touchdown before the half. And then they got another turnover and then it was on. It's like the dam broke and whatever other cliche. They were off to the races. Give me another one because that was.
Oh, that's exactly what I said. And that Satawala interception, I did say damn. You're precisely right. You just said it. The dam broke. Yeah. And that was the game clincher. And wow, thinking they got this game. And, you got a Utah win against a hapless Colorado team. That's great. But there's something to be said for being down on the road, the delirious, going crazy there, and then you come back and you win comfortably. You put a 31-3 run. I think that's what it was. Double check me. But you put a 31-3 run.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That just says something. And then we have Shehan Jeyarajah on, and I agree with what he says. With Portnoy, the well-known pizza critic, going on a rant on his Fox. I didn't see the show, but I saw the rant because you can get all that stuff. He's got 3.7 million followers on X, and he put it on there. And I think that's what changes lines of thinking. I think that's a fact.
And now they have a bye week. Regroup, get ready for Texas Tech. And BYU's got their injuries. LJ Martin was in street clothes standing over on the sideline at the end of the game. Texas Tech has had their injuries. Tech has to play this week at Kansas State. K-State's got a chance to they got most of the league rooting for them. Kansas State can do everybody a favor here. And then in 2 weeks, it's BYU at Texas Tech.
Yeah, they got a bye week. I wouldn't be surprised if Bachmeier solved cancer in this bye week. He's doing it all these days.
And then there's the Utes. Big plays right out of the gate. Dion humiliated afterwards, said it was the worst whooping he got since he was a little kid, and his mama came after him. 422 yards rushing. So do you think Ficklin, the question's up, we can get into your reaction from the listeners coming up, if Dampier is struggling with the ankle, I expect he gets the start because Kyle's really talked him up. You're right. Early in his career, there were quarterbacks who never got the love and were never fully entrenched. But lately they have. I mean, Cam Rising and Tyler Huntley, he's been all about those guys. And he seems to be all about Dampier in the same way. But if the team struggling needs to throw the ball, or if Dampier is limping around out there, isn't it a lot easier to go to Ficklin now?
I don't think there's any question. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Home game, crowd getting antsy. They saw what Ficklin can do, and he's the new shiny toy. That's the way the world works. What have you done right now? And see him running around like that and just destroying Colorado. I mean, they were barely even within 5 yards of him. And Kyle's talking about, the kid's a good passer. And we see Dampier that just isn't his strength. I have a hard time criticizing Dampier for the throw game.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, you knew full well what you were getting.
His offensive coordinator came with him. You 100% knew. He literally cannot throw the ball that far down the field. Ficklin can. Maybe he'll hit the guy. Maybe he'll miss. Obviously, below 50% isn't good enough. Obviously, that's way low. But like the ball coming out of his hand, he can throw it. And a couple of the throws were on the money and pretty far down the field and really zipped in there. Now, Kyle tells us we're not allowed to go to practice, but Kyle says he's much more accurate in practice. It's easy to believe he's getting his first start and there's a little adrenaline out there. That's in a combination of adrenaline and inexperience will do that. So if they are behind, they have to throw the ball. He's the guy.
Yeah, I could see that, but I'm not ready to cast Dampier aside because I think he's given you what he's capable of giving you, and you gave him the starting job for a reason. But at the same time, it's always the coach's jobs to play the players who give you the best chance to win. Yeah. And there's no allegiance other than are you the best player at this point in time at your position to help us win. And obviously it's magnified with quarterback because they play X amount of players at different positions throughout the course of the game. And quarterback, I mean, quarterback is it's the one position where if they make a change, it's announced over the public address system. No other position during the course of the game does the public address announcer announce the new left tackle is – they just don't do that. But at quarterback, they do that. And you could literally hear a buzz go through the crowd when it's figured out that they've changed quarterbacks. Not in a blowout situation, but I'm talking about when a game is on the line.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Bronco Mendenhall was on talking about his team. Aggie fans, get it wherever you get your podcasts. He was really open and honest about the road struggles and how poor the team played and the challengers they get. They got a bye week before they play the last third of the season, the last 4 regular season games coming up. 4-4 with bowl eligibility hanging in the balance. When we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? Chewbacca, free Byrd. And then it looks like he's got some kind of eagle emoji in here. See free Byrd?
Is it captured?
See free Byrd, get that? No, it's not.
Yeah.
It seems to be, it's like an eagle looking at you like he's on a dollar bill or something. In profile, one eye.
Well, yeah, we can't go too crazy over one game against a hapless opponent that was already sucky against running defense anyway. But you got to like what he did.
Ute fan Chewbacca jumping in with, I hate to be the voice of reason to defend BYU here. But while Indiana has been in the Big Ten all along, they did jump from sub-mediocrity to number 2 in the country overnight. So, respectfully, I don't buy the it takes time excuse. That was by the old rules. The portal and the NIL age demolished that idea. That being said, let's see how BYU does in the next 3 games. All of this disrespect talk means nothing if you get beaten those games. Texas Tech game is looking more favorable with their quarterback injuries.
Well, what doesn't take time? For a team to get good, it doesn't necessarily take time. Right. But for a team to get national respect from the Big 12, Indiana's getting natural respect from the Big 10. That's a different story.
It is. You get to hop on the back of and piggyback Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Oregon. And in the Big 10, you get that, and in the Big 12, you don't. And because all of them, like of all the unbeaten teams, BYU is the most disrespected. Of the one-loss teams, Houston's the most disrespected. Right behind him, Cincinnati, and Texas Tech isn't that far away. They're all getting – of the 2-loss teams, Utah's down there at the bottom of the 2-loss teams in the rankings. They're just not buying anybody in this conference.
and I think that that's an injustice.
Yeah. And Indiana did get to 11-1 and get into the playoff last year. So it was.
Yeah, but they didn't beat a ranked team.
I get
You're big on the ranked teams. You always tell us who are the ranked teams playing this week. I don't decide big games because somebody attaches a number to them. That the ranked teams doesn't really matter that much to me. If I think it's a good game, I'll watch it, not just because somebody in Oshkosh gave a number and therefore I have to adhere to it. No, I adhere to what I think I want, not what somebody else tells me that they want and I should want, unless I want it myself. So with that in mind, if you go with the ranking as if it matters, they didn't beat a ranked team, and then they beat Oregon, and so that's how they jumped way up, beating Oregon. And they get the benefit of the doubt because they're in the conference. But I think it takes time for perception from BYU because they went 5-7 their first year, and they had some 7-6 teams before that. If they put together, now they've won 19 of 21. If we're sitting here at 30 games and they've won 28 of 30 or 27 of 30, yeah, the windows of respect are open and it's flowing unto them. They'll get it at that point.
I don't know where I saw it, but I did see somebody nationally use the 18-2 number in the run-up to that game. And I saw it like Saturday morning or something, or Friday night. It was after the show. But I remember thinking, I wish I'd seen that before the Friday show. It's like, okay, so that's someone nationally starting to catch on to that number, which matters. I think that's something you can use to pump it up.
Yeah, 18-2 in a power conference catches your eye. And the Big 12, we're just the line of thing, the Big 12 doesn't have the super team. How do we know the Big 12 doesn't have the super team? Somebody's telling us they don't have the super team. Maybe they do, and maybe it is BYU. But even accepting that for argument's sake, there's a lot of quality teams in the Big 12, and right now BYU is they were 8-2 against those teams last year, so now they are 13-2 against those teams. Not every one of them is a big-time quality win, but still 13-2. So of their last 15 conference games, counting Colorado as a bowl game, which is a conference member, they are 13-2. Come on, man. It's time to slap some respect with their name.
DJ PK, we're all done. Jake and Ben are about to start right here on The Zone.